Thank you, car park campers. Good evening, God bless. And yes, Lena Scott, I will have a fab stream indeed, darling. I will. So, it's a Southend West by-election. Good evening, Brett Fisher, where David Amess was murdered by a Somali immigrant whose father come over here as a refugee, whose father also lives in Somalia. So if he gets, I wonder if he's getting lots of benefits. I know he's got property over here, and his son killed David Amess, and he even made an appointment to go and meet him before he killed him. Now, obviously, nobody wants to say anything. Hardly anybody has said anything. The news straight away started comparing it with Joe Cox. Then all of a sudden, Hope Not Hate saying, oh, the far right are on the rise again. Well, it was nobody far right, guys, who killed David Amess. He so-called pledged his allegiance to whatever chaotic group. But in the end, he was a follower of Islam. He was a follower of Islam. That's all need be said. So there's 9 candidates up. Nine candidates. It's an exciting night. I know Mr. Graham Moore will be down there with the English Constitution Party, and he's getting involved in elections now, which I think is the right way to go. He started his own party, big respect to him about that. Although there is some issues with identity within his party and what other people think of it. So coming up soon, we're going to have a debate with Graham Moore, leader of the English Constitution Party, and our very own Scouser up here, Paul Rimmer. So that's up and coming. We're going to be doing it on the Reverend Simon Sideways channel. I've talked with the Rev, so we'll be doing it there. Gets a lot of views, so it should be a good debate, but that's up and coming. But anyway, let's get back to the Southend West by-election. Good evening, Peter Smith. Good evening, Shazza. So yeah, there's 9 candidates going. Let's see what it's saying on. So we've got Freedom Alliance, Christopher Anderson. And you know I'm a big believer in the vote. And I was fortunate enough to bump into the Freedom Alliance in Batley. And I had an interview with their candidate that's up on me. And I talked to some of the people there. And what impressed me was that people were willing to stand up. There was a girl there from Wakefield, and she said if there's a by-election in Wakefield, she'd like to run as a candidate. This girl's never run before in her life. She's not into politics, and she wants to run as a candidate in a by-election. I think that's commendable. Although it is a by-election, that's a very slim chance she's going to get anywhere. The fact is, this girl stood up. I can't remember her name, but I spent the day talking to her. Actually, Peter Smith, who's in the chat, was with us on the day when we bumped into the Freedom Alliance guys, and had a really good day talking with them. We went out shouting about voting and stuff like that. So, yeah, so Peter can tell you that. So, English Democrat, Catherine Blaiklock, that's who's running. I don't know Catherine. I don't know much about her. Obviously, we have run into the English Democrats in Batley, where I did a bit of supported Tracy Hurst while she did a bit of campaigning around there. And I just want to tell you, she was told not to go to the Batley school. That's what she got told. But she's not with any numpties now. She's with Big John and my man Peter Smith. And we took her up there, and she managed to get a video done outside the school, right? And, you know, we didn't go up to kick off or anything. We wanted to just go up and do a video, which she did. And she did well, considering it was unannounced. But I'll show you that soon. Olga Childs, no description. She's not running. Even though she's on the ballot, she's not running. I don't know nothing about her, really. Heritage Party are there. Ben Downton. Conservative, Anna Firth. Independent, Jayda Fransen. UKIP, Steve Laws. English Constitution Party, Graham Moore. And the Psychedelic Movement, Jason Pilley. Now, I was actually... Good evening, Jace. Yes, Park, good evening, sir. Lydia Wilson Knight, good evening. Son of Max, good evening, sir. John Georgie, good evening. So, yeah, so then with the candidates now, I looked through the candidates earlier. I'll get them up. And I did actually like... We'll go through what the candidates have said anyway. So Christopher Anderson, Freedom Alliance candidate Christopher Anderson from Eastbourne, East Sussex, says he's standing because after the tyranny of lockdowns and vaccination mandates, it's important for anyone who can be articulate and understand the issues, which I felt I did, to stand up and make their voice heard. Very commendable, sir. Very commendable. And I'm going to give you massive respect, Christopher. If this is your first time you're running in an election, absolute fantastic, man. Honestly, you're doing better than 99% of my friends, including myself. But thank you very much, sir. He adds, he always felt quite disfranchised with the electoral system due to the first past the post system, and that in the future he would like to see direct democracy. I think a lot of us agree that first past the post thing is rubbish. We should have direct democracy, like when UKIP got 3 million votes, which would have gotten people in. That's what we want. I'll agree with that. Although I will talk it over with my second, who's in the chat now, Pat McGuinness, Patriotic Social. But yeah, I agree with that. Representative democracy allows individuals possibly to be bribed and manipulated by interests with far more money than any individual voter could acquire, he says. Correct, definitely. There might be a limit. Role for some representative politics, but I think the final say, especially on major issues like education or schools, should be with the people. Very commendable little bit of a speech. This is in the BBC. I'll fire up the link anyway, and I'll get it into the chat. Good evening, Ugly Truth. Please share far and wide. You don't get many of these kind of election things, and I smashed it in Batley, and I'm on Southend tonight. I would have loved to have gone down, spent a couple of days down there. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to, but hopefully there's more by-elections coming up. There's possibly one coming up in Wakefield. And if we are a political party by then, I'm hoping we can get somebody in Wakefield to stand up and be counted in the next elections. Maybe not a by-election, but in the next elections. By-elections are big things, and you can't just throw yourself in thinking you're going to do well and in a big by-election which covers a certain amount of wards. So our party, we will be saying no to by-elections unless we know we can get some kind of publicity, or we can make it a very public event like it happened in Batley and stuff like that. Then we will consider it. We will consider it. But local elections, local ward councillors is who we're looking for. And hopefully, I've had a few people showing interest, wanting to get involved, and I commend them for that, and we'll be going further. But we want local people stand up in local elections. We'll deal with the by-elections when we're big and we're powerful, when we get more voters. We'll deal with them all then. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at. So let's get back to the South End. I think I've got somebody. My number one special guest tonight is coming on at 8:30. I don't know much about Catherine from the English Democrats. She lives in Norfolk, says the country needs to look at the cost of immigration and what else is happening in the country in terms of other costs. In particular, interested in fuel cost, inflation, tax rises, standard of living drops, particularly the fuel issue, she says. We have a massive housing crisis in this country. We have council house queues. We basically can't sustain our health service and our roads. Now, I agree with practically everything she said in there. Housing has got to be right now probably in the top 5 of the things in the entire country. Our health service certainly needs a good look at. Recently, we watched a social care bill going through Parliament. They're looking at rising taxes now to pay for all the things they want to do. And what can I say about social care? Well, I look after my mum for a start. But what I can tell you is that Oldham is the biggest social care place in the country. There's more social care workers in Oldham per person than anywhere else in the United Kingdom. And we have massive issues that weren't talked to about social health care. Nothing was said about genetics. Nothing was said about first cousin marriages, which is a massive thing in Oldham, considering 50% of Pakistanis still in the UK marry the cousins, marry family. And it's a big issue, which leads to social care costs and deformities within people. And I'm going down the genetics route here. It's bad for us. People just don't realise we're pushed to accept a lot of people, but in the end of things, if you want to keep your genetics pure, you have to be careful. And first cousin marriages is out of it. But yeah, I agree with what she said there. Even people who are pro-immigration have to accept there's a finite amount of land in this country. There is a finite amount of housing that can possibly be put up, and there's a finite amount of money that the NHS and people have. Of course there is. Of course there is. I'll agree with that. I can go further, but I'm not going to. Like I said, we've got a tough night coming. I've got my massive guest on at 8:30. And then I'm hoping maybe to speak to Graham and Steve during the night for a few minutes. I know they're busy, and if either of them two guys give me 10 minutes, I'll be very thankful. But yeah, I like what she said there. She said a few things. Olga Child's not running now. Ben Downton, Heritage Party. I think I can say me and Pat like the Heritage Party, but not the full way. They do want to think about us and the country and values and stuff like that. But they didn't really. I didn't see him saying anything about the Batley school teacher when I did my Batley by-election. I never really seen them coming out, and they were sort of like in the media, but no one else was, and I didn't like that. And I certainly didn't like that. I never heard much about the Batley school teacher, which should have been a forefront thing up there, as well as Bradley Gledill murder. That should have been another forefront thing, but hardly any of them two things have been talked about, hardly any. Oh, my important guest is soon coming on, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, Big John does smash it sometimes, and you know, I love me voting streams. Look at me background. Look at me background, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we're not winning. Look at that background. Look at that background. We didn't vote because it won't make a difference. During the night, I'll go into statistics telling you how many people voted, the percentage that Labour and Conservatives have lost votes in the Southend election. Right, we'll go through all that, but that is the thing. That is the thing. That is a thing. Well, a top guest, actually, 523, a top guest. And very important to me, as she's a great friend of mine. Good evening, Q Cockney Geordie. Not seen you on before. 523, I think I've seen you knocking around. EW, good evening. I've noticed EW, the trial, the Amjad Bitter trial. Didn't see his name on, but I've seen half of the group up. But I didn't see his name on. I will check court serve after. I am actually free tomorrow. But we'll see. But I have checked it out. Did I see English Bulldog? Yes, good evening, English Bulldog. So where were we up to then? Right, so yeah, we're going on about the election. Conservative Party. Now, this by-election, when Joe Cox were killed, the major mainstream parties made up a pact that if it happens again, they won't run against that candidate. So there's no Labour, there's no Greens, and there's no Lib Dems. There's only Anna Firth of the Conservatives and the Independents and the other candidates in the other parties running. But that was an agreement made at the time of Joe Cox's murder. And, you know, I'm disgusted that they have to even mention Joe Cox when Joe Cox certainly was not any right-wing murder, so-called right-wing murder. I've walked around. I don't know about other people, but I've actually walked and talked to the people in the area. Has anyone else done that? Probably not. I went up there and I walked the route, me. I've looked at all the evidence. I've looked at different kinds of evidence. I've looked at newspaper reports. I've looked at investigative reporters' evidence. And I've been looking at that for a couple of years before I went on the trip. And there's loads of things to ask about that case. Why wasn't the family allowed to be in court when he were in London? And that's fact. None of the family went there. And his mum, none of the family, no cousins, no nothing. They weren't allowed. Right, honestly. Dodgy stuff. Why did Joe Cox's body get taken straight to London without even the chief autopsy guy signing it off to go down? Honestly, dodgy things to do with that case. But then Hope Not Hate come up. Oh, far right are under threat. We're under threat from the far right. We're not under threat from the far right. It's not. We're under threat from Islam and Islamic extremism at the moment, and of course our own government. I'm not even going to look at the Conservative candidate. She wants to preserve David Amess's legacy, and David Amess wanted unlimited immigration. He weren't bothered, so I'm not going to say she's going to be the same. We're all out of touch. The Conservative Party is certainly out of touch with the rest of the country. I'm not going to bother reading a statement. As a large party, they all have to go what the party says. You can't, oh, I'm going to do something different. It just doesn't work like that. That's why we need local politics in, we need independence, and we need smaller parties in to break up this kind of control that they have in councils and things like that. We keep going on about this. I'm going to get Pat on in next week or something, and we'll go through more about voting and stuff like that and the importance of getting it. Now, all right, I get asked, I get told this all the time. It's all a fix. You're never going to do nothing. That's what he said. Until we call them out, and I will call them out. If I see something wrong, I'm going to be writing to the Electoral Commission and send an email, just like Danny Simpson has done. Danny Simpson spotted something dodgy, and he's wrote off and pushing it, just like George Galloway is doing. He's pushed something in, and he's seen dodgy things. And this is how we have to call them out to get better control. This is how we get to call them out to find out what's going on. Remember, if a council is dominated by Labour, it's easier for them to cover things up. It's easier for them to get away with things. So until we split up that control, we're not going to go nowhere. So we need to split it up. But let me just get back to chat. Sorry, I'm still ranting on, I'm telling you. Right? And it's nearly 9:30. Special guest tonight, live with Big John. That's what it is. So anyway, so let's get back to the candidates. Jayda Fransen, BBC have even put in, but then at the bottom they put in that she was convicted for this, that, and the other, and just the same crap that they always put in. But I don't think any of them know Jayda. I do. And I do. So underneath Jayda, Steve Laws, UKIP. Well done, Steve. Another guy who's started stuff off, seen what it's like, and he's standing up to be counted. And I can't fault him. And it's I know I go on, but we've got to think about this. We've got to think about getting more politically active in voting and things. Demonstrations are all right here and there, but you're never going to change nothing until you can start winning seats and local council seats and stuff like that. It's never going to change, and it's not as difficult as you think. They make it think that it's difficult, but it's not. And you know, if you've got a skill, if you know things about houses and housing, right there and then, that's where you want to be getting into the councils now, because your knowledge is going to be valuable when we're building our houses. So if you know stuff about housing, land and stuff like that, get in contact with me. We want to know these kind of people. We want to know what's going on. I want to know I know the difference between brown land and green land and stuff like that, but I want to know more. So if you've got any of them kind of skills or that kind of knowledge, please get in contact with me or Patriotic Socialism in the chat and let us know. Because them kind of skills, if we can get them kind of skills, that's going to help us in councils. That's going to help us. You know, I can just imagine me leading the Oldham Council, but I've been a housing property developer for 10 years. Yeah. So I will bring to that council what they need, experience to do with housing. At the moment, our councils are just made up of diversity people and people sheep. That's all our councils are made up of at the moment. When I said diversity people, I mean people who don't know what they're doing. How do I know this? Is because Oldham spends millions on consultancy fees, millions, because the people in the council are stupid and they don't know what they're talking about. Now, what about you, John? What about you? Well, I've had a lot of experience in supervisory experience. I've been a team leader, a supervisor, a junior manager. I work well on my own, and I'm an exceptional team player, right? And these are skills and qualities that I want to bring to my Oldham Council, because we've not got that kind of skill in at the moment. There's nobody like that. The council are made up out of people who don't know what they're talking about and who are only bothered about their own well-being or their own community. So with my skills, I can bring maybe a kind of order to the council, to the chamber, being having experience, supervisory and managerial experience. So that's what I'm going to bring to the table, to try and get our council to work better, to try and get our communities to work better. See what parts wrote up. So David Amess was killed by a refugee. The 1951 UN Refugee Convention should be front and centre of this election campaign, and I haven't heard or seen any candidate mention it yet that we must leave it. Very good point to Pat, because our party, you've got to agree with that, leaving the 1951 Refugee Convention. And because of that convention is why these people are coming over here in droves and abusing the convention. And these kind of things have been abused all the time. The European Court of Human Rights, it's been abused to get under the laws that we have in this country. that are supposed to be okay laws. So yeah, and none of the candidates have specifically mentioned that. Although UKIP do have it in the manifesto, we do know now, and I think the English Democrats have it in the manifesto, and Graham Moore as well will be in his constitutional manifesto. But no, because of that is why we're getting a lot of why the things happening at Dover, why we've got them all coming in. Captain Stinker, thank you, sir. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. So anyway, much further ado, 26 minutes past. Let me just let's get me guest on. Let's get me guest on. Let's get me guest on, I'm telling you. Please share, everyone. Come on, please share. Please share. Coming on before, hopefully. Coming on before. Please share, everyone. So again, Big John's here, and it's on the Southend West by election. I covered Batley well, got a lot of attention. It's certainly off Channel 4 media as well. I got attention off, wanted to interview me about the Empire. I talked to a couple of activists who were big up there, and one of them who went on Sky News talking about the Batley School. So I had a good run in Batley, met up with all the candidates, most of them anyway. Obviously, I'm not going to meet the Conservative candidate or the Labour. They won't come near me, but I did get up to... Right, here we go, everyone. Here we go. Hello, good evening, Jayda.
Hi, John. Can you hear me all right?
I can, yeah, I can.
Good. Can you see my little Avi on there? Is it the leaflet?
I think it is, yeah. Let me just get it on the screen so I can... how do I do that now?
Don't worry too much. We're literally at the moment, absolutely up to our necks in newspapers. We've just had the second delivery of our Freedom newspaper. We've got 30,000 issues, and I am drowning in newspapers. So I'm sorry I can't come on camera, but it kind of looks a little bit like Beirut in here at the moment.
Oh, well, I was talking to Daniel earlier, and he's got a little trolley now, hasn't he?
He's got the Freedom trolley, John. It's very
the Freedom trolley.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Actually, we've got. You know how I like to do. You know how I don't do things by halves, John. Right? So we got these vests made up with the Vendetta logo, the mask on it, and they're big Freedom. They're high-vis. They're red high-vis vests for the Freedom rallies. So you can expect to see myself and Danny and there's plenty of us who are going to be out there giving them out with our our high-vis vests and our Freedom trolley.
Well, I want. There's a question. I know someone's got a question. Patriotic Social. Will you type your question in, please? And I know you've got something to ask Jayda, but did you get your leaflets delivered again by Royal Mail?
We did. I'll tell you what, John. Right, this was strange. So the leaflet that we sent out, the mail out, we put it out to everyone. So it was 42,500 homes, and we did the full drop because I'll come on to what our campaign was. It was a very very strange campaign. A lot of people were quite shocked by it, but there was a reason behind it. But yeah, so the leaflet we put out, you've seen my leaflets over the last 10 or so years, and you've seen how controversial I can go. And this wasn't really at all controversial. One side was an image of Boris Johnson with a pint, and then the other, and then beside that was an image of an old lady looking out the window on lockdown. And then on the back we said "spoil the ballot." basically the same thing as my little avatar says there. If voting changed anything, the tyrants would ban it and spoil the ballot. That's what we've encouraged people to do. So I'll tell you what's been odd. I've had members who live in the constituency that have contacted me to say, I haven't had your leaflet yet. And in fact, members of the press have been contacting me saying, we want to interview you, and can you send us a copy of your leaflet? Because the members of staff at the respective press agencies haven't had your leaflet yet. They've had everyone else's. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not the one. Not again. Look, I spoke to the chap at Royal Mail yesterday that I'd been dealing with, and he, really nice guy. And I just said to him, look, what's going on? Because this is the day before. Yesterday we were back out canvassing with a slightly more controversial leaflet, I will say. But we were out canvassing, and I'm saying, look, a lot of time and money has gone into this. It's 42,500 homes. And it's concerning me that even the press are saying, look, we've got everyone else's leaflet, but we haven't got yours. So, look, I don't know, John. I mean, I don't know. What can you say?
I think Danny said that it's in some of your leaflets that had been delivered. I'm sure he said that to me earlier.
Oh yeah, we certainly did see some. Look, I'm not suggesting at all that they didn't drop the leaflet. I'm hoping that every home got them, because that's what we fundraised for, was a full leaflet drop. Basically, that's why we stand in these elections, right? Is to exploit the system and to have mass reach within the constituency. Now, this constituency specifically was obviously a controversial by-election because of the nature of the calling of it, following the murder of Sir David Amess. And a lot of the main parties didn't throw their hat in the ring because somehow they think that it would be undemocratic, although I think that's a bit ridiculous. But anyway, as I say, the leaflet wasn't really controversial. I mean, the fact that any of us stood was alleged to be controversial, but we stood on a ticket of give us our freedom back. We stood solely on the issue of drop the lockdowns, drop the mandates, and just give us back our freedom. And as it unraveled that these Tory tyrants had been having an ease up every week, and I'm just going to qualify this, right? I'm so sick to death of seeing people on social media saying, "Oh, so what if Boris had a party? I had a party." Yes, so did I, but I didn't make the rules. These people are elitist tyrants, and they oppressed people for 2 years. And the amount of people I see online that are saying, I'm backing Boris, I just think they've got Stockholm syndrome. But anyway, I would like to think that everybody in the constituency saw at least one of our leaflets, but we did get out a rather nice one over the last few days. And Danny has been superb, along with the rest of the team. They've been brilliant.
Oh, well, I mean, I know you say you don't have faith in voting, but I mean, with me, I've got to do the thing that I want to talk about. So I can talk about voting and things like that, but until you've experienced it, Jayda, and you just don't know. And when we're in Barnsley, I pointed out that I went putting a seal on one of the boxes at one of the polling stations, and in front of me 3 times, the guy there failed to put the seal on correctly, Jayda. 3 times in front of me, but I didn't move until he put that seal on, and it were on proper. And when he put it on, he went, to show me that it was on proper. Oh, yeah. Honestly,
John, look, these people are at it. Like, I don't want to sound cynical, but I'm not suggesting that politics should be dropped altogether. That is certainly not. I mean, I'm the leader of a political party, so that would be rather absurd. But we do have to be realistic about these elections. And I have been realistic since the launch of the British Freedom Party, which the launch of the party was in direct response to the COVID scamdemic, right? It was people were being locked in their houses, people were being unlawfully fined. So I set up an advocacy service, a free advocacy service to represent people who had received these unlawful fines and harassment. And it morphed into a party, which I think there was definitely a void that needed to be filled with. Now, people would say that my politics are extreme. They're probably right. I've been called an extremist, and I wear that hat quite gladly, so that's fine. But we have to be realistic with the situation with elections. these elections really they are a two-horse race. This is a very different set of circumstances, this by-election, because it's a Tory stronghold. We know what the result is going to be, right? We know that the Tories are going to take this seat. It is a Tory stronghold, and without sounding like I'm not being very tactful here, they will get the sympathy vote. We saw that with Joe Cox. It's going to happen, right? After the murder of Sir David Amess, people are going to do what they feel duty bound to do, and that is vote for the Tories, even though the Tories are behaving like tyrants. But I think in this by-election is interesting because the main parties didn't join in, so it gave room for some of the other parties to offer themselves as a protest vote. And I think that's important. I believe it's important for us to hold these people to account, even though the ballot box is not the route to save this nation, right? It is not. It's not going to save the nation. We can't do it at the ballot box. It still is an imperative that we, through the electoral system, we hold these people to account. And if I could be so hasty as to make a prediction, I would say the Tories are going to take this seat, as I would expect everybody to believe. I think that the English Democrats are going to come second, and I think that they're going to do well in this election. I think that they will rattle the establishment. The English Democrats have been established for quite a while. You know, they are a household brand. I think they're going to do very well. I do think they'll come in second. And then, of course, some of the other parties. You know, UKIP is standing. Steve Law's standing for UKIP. I don't think he'll get a bad vote, but I think the English Dems will probably be quite far ahead in their second place.
Right. Well, I mean, the Labour Party, when David Amess got elected, they only got half the amount of votes, and they were down 5.9% from the last time. So yeah, I might go with that. Yeah, English Democrats coming second. I probably agree with that. But I know, Jayda, that overall there's less people voting for the mainstream parties because we've got so many hyper independent political parties in towns. And I'll just give you a bit of an example. In Oldham, one of the constituencies, Angela Rayner's constituency, there's an area called Failsworth, and the last local elections, they got 3 candidates in as Failsworth Independent Party, and they're hoping to win the other 2 seats this time. You know what I mean? And I believe that breaking up our councils is what is going to bring the downfall of the government, because they have too much control. Labour have been in control of Oldham for 50 years, and they're like rooted in, and we've got to dig at them, dig underneath and dig away at them, and that's what we're doing to break the overall control. But definitely the voting thing has gone down overall for the Conservatives and the mainstream parties now. So
yeah, I agree, and I agree with what you're saying about starting at the bottom and breaking them down that way. Look, as I say, this has long been a 2-horse race in terms of government. So we need to be realistic with our expectations, because there are parties out there that are still saying, vote for us and we're going to take power, and then we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And it's just, we've got to be realistic. And there's no problem having aspirations, but we've got to be realistic, because we've got to be grown-ups. Time is of the essence. We don't have time to fantasize about, I mean, I look, and it's a lovely sentiment, right? People who follow their respective parties would love to see the leader of their respective parties be in power and be the prime minister. Of course, absolutely. It's a great.
You're still there.
But
sorry.
if I'm back, I'll carry on.
Yeah, you're back. Go on.
It's. Am I there, John?
Yeah, you are. You're here.
Hold on, I've lost you. Hold on.
We can definitely hear you. I can definitely hear you.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Oh,
I knew that someone would call me. I will have at least 3 calls during this chat, I'm sure. Right, let me come out and come back. Let me see if that works.
Right. This is Big John, and we're live. We're live with Jayda Fransen, and we're on In the Box. And I'm just going to throw it to Jayda in a minute. There's just two ways we can go down this route. There's just two ways. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay,
Welcome
I'm back.
back.
Thank you, mate. Sorry, that's probably going to happen again. I would put money on it that that's going to happen again. But
So Jayda, this is the way I see it, and I've said this to a few people. We're going to take back the country two ways: a French Revolution with all the trimmings, or voting.
I think we need a revolution, John. I do. I think we need a revolution. I mean, I'm so sure no one's surprised to hear me say that, right? But we do. We need an uprising. And I'm not even going to mince my words because we don't have time to mince our words. What we've seen over the last 2 years is an acceleration of communism by a Tory government on a colossal scale. I've been on my, even before I was involved with any of the previous movements, I was on my soapbox for many, many, many years. And people thought, oh, she's crazy. I've had a great deal of support, and I'm so grateful for the people that have been loyal and stood by me and supportive. And that's why, and listen, I'm just getting warmed up. Like, I'm literally just getting warmed up. But for a long time, I've been saying, bad times are coming, and I think a lot, and I don't want to be vindicated in any of this, but I think actually over the last couple of years, some of us who have been sort of trying to warn people, and a lot of people have just sort of shrugged us off as conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing nutters, are actually saying, do you know what? you were saying that about 10 years ago and we all thought you were mad. And I just think that now it's tangible. We can see it, we can feel it. We can feel it in our lockdown. We can feel it in our economy. Politics has to play a part in what we do. We have to use the system of politics, and we will never give up on that. And at the moment, we've lodged an application to register the British Freedom Party to stand in the May local elections. So we fully intend on really throwing as much weight as we can into elections. But, and I will say this, whilst I do think your idea about kind of stealth invasion of the political scene through the councils, breaking down the councils and removing the blocks that have been in place for a long time, I think we are the only way forward is an uprising. And as I said before I got cut off, we have to be grown-ups about this. This is no longer a hypothetical situation that we've been warning people about for over a decade. We're in it now. It's happening, and it's accelerating. And anybody who believes that our freedoms are being returned to us by this government who have removed them all for the last 2 years, don't be so naive as to believe that this government will take those freedoms away and then gift wrap them back to you, at such a kind of crucial moment.
I just want to say this. I've asked that question to a few people and then they go, "Oh, John, don't say anything on live or anything like that," right? But there's only 2 people who've directly answered me back. You're the second. The first one was Kim. Kim?
I know Kim. Yeah. What question was it? What about the freedom?
No, I said we need a French Revolution or voting, and you've said French Revolution. Kim said French Revolution. Other people go, well,
yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you why, John, right? And look, other people would do well to look at circumstances I have found myself in, and I would say I say learn from them, but there's kind of a complicated theory, because I am not suggesting that anybody buys into or allows himself to be cowed by the cancel culture and the oppressive nature of our establishment, which has been to hound and harass and persecute people like myself who have spoken out for many years. Unfortunately for them, because I'm a crazed Bible bashing Christian, blood-washed Christian, I see persecution as a badge of honor. So the more they persecute and the more they hound me and the more they oppress me and the more they really make my life as difficult as possible, the more I am convinced that I am doing God's work. So that's kind of backfired. But I think that people do have this caution. And again, I'm kind of sick of seeing it in politics. I'll be honest with you, I am sick of seeing it. People are still towing the line and saying, oh, I can't say that. And I've got, sod towing the line. They are jabbing our kids with an experimental drug. They are blackmailing people. They have blackmailed people out of their roles as care workers. Whether they do that with NHS staff now or not is by the by. I mean, I could go on and on and on about these issues because they are so complex. I have, kind of deep feelings about the fact that so many people stayed silent before those mandates came across the health and care sectors, but other people were losing their businesses. But that's a different, you could go on, this could go off onto many different branches. But the fact of the matter is, people are still afraid, even in the midst of extreme tyranny, people are still afraid to say what is patently obvious, which is if the people don't band together and rise up, we're finished anyway. It's done. It's, all of these populist policies that we talk about, like the dinghy divers, and these are important issues to me. I've been campaigning on these issues for over a decade, but none of it will have a blind bit of difference to our lives when we don't have the freedom to speak or to communicate, when we're living under a social credit system where we're scored on how well we behave and how compliant we are, and that dictates whether we get to use energy or, that's where we're headed. People think this is crazy, but it's been implemented in China. And the blueprint, the rollout, if the beta test, if you like, was the track and trace app and the vaccine passports. So for me, all of these issues, the populist issues that people cling to because they're kind of safe bets, there's an element of cowardice. I have not seen, and I really haven't, we haven't had an opposition party in this country throughout this whole pandemic. We've had no opposition. Keir Starmer is an oxygen thief. He's a spineless, just a non-entity, right? With no principles, no nothing. He's just a nothing. So we've had no opposition to the tyranny. And yet even the smaller parties, they'll dabble and say, oh, freedom. But none of them are saying, listen, let's rise up. I mean, I'm genuine here. I'm saying I don't care how unpopular this might be with those who are trying to toe the line. If you don't rise up, it's finished anyway. So that's our only choice. We can sit at home and hope that the Tories give us back our freedom, and that Rishi Sunak, if he becomes the next prime minister who's neck deep in big pharma, might decide he doesn't want trillions going through his investments, jabbing people with unknown drugs. Or we can say enough's enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love it, me. I love the excitement and all that. And I thought that I made a bit of it in Batley. I ended up getting, I don't know if you know this, but I ended up getting interviewed off, just let me get his name up. Oh, is that my stream again? Let me just check who that was. Oh, it's Jayda back on. Are you back, Jayda?
Sorry, mate. I'm losing the watch a little bit. Can I just read what Victoria wrote? Sorry to say, many British men have sold this country. A few left don't have power to take it back. Yeah, I know. I think Victoria and Victoria. I mean, if I can just digress a bit, John, I won't go on too long. I know
of course, go on.
But I'm just going to say here, like, I did a stream the other night, and in fact, we had a good little catch up last night in Southend West after we did some canvassing, and we were just talking about the sorry state of the country, and we were talking about the sorry state of present company exempt, obviously, John. And there are some fantastic men out there. I don't want anyone to think that I'm a feminist here, right? Because feminism is cancer. I despise it, and I love men, right? I'm the biggest cheerleader for real men, so I want to throw that out there. But there are far too many effeminate men out there who are absolutely hopeless. And God help us if we did need to go into if this country did go into civil unrest, because I don't know what a lot of these men are too busy in their safe space shaping their eyebrows. But then equally, we was discussing this the other night, and there was a mixed bag of us, there were men and women at the table, and we were saying, I said, I also feel for the men of this nation, because as a traditional woman, I feel that there is an epidemic in that men are not behaving in a manly fashion. But there is also the same to be said about women. Women have been made masculine and men have been made effeminate, and so yeah, it's kind of it is quite bleak. And Victoria said there she's concerned that, you know, it's been sold, it's been kind of handed away by all these men, and there's not enough.
Jayda, I remember you've talked about this before, the femininity in men. You've absolutely nailed it before. I know on a couple of streams we've come up with this, and you know, I have to agree with all the indoctrination and the trans. You can be any this, that, the other, and anything. Right. 1 sec. I've got Steve Laws coming on. He's just arriving on the stream. I'll just let him in, and I'll just have a. He's only going to be 10 minutes, Jayda, but I won't.
That's all right, John. Listen, I'm going to dash, but look, if you want another catch up, give me a shout. But I'm going to dash anyway because we're literally drowning in papers. But
no worries. Thank you very much, Jayda. Thank you, honestly.
You're welcome. And I want to say good luck to all the candidates standing. I want to say, and I want to say good luck. We've told everyone to go and spoil the ballot and just basically show contempt for this by-election, because the Tories have shown us contempt. But for all of those who are out there campaigning, as we have been, fair play to all of them and good luck. I hope they have a great night.
Oh, thank you, Jayda. Thank you, love. Thank you.
All right. God bless, John. Bye-bye, mate.
God bless. God bless. So, right, let's get Steve on.
Hello, mate. You right?
Hello, Steve. Right, so quickly, did you get your leaflets delivered through Royal Mail like the rest of the
Yeah, we got all that out, and then we hand delivered another set of leaflets as well. So we got all that out. We've got the message out as far as we can. I'm just running around now thanking all the polling stations, like all the volunteers for their time and all that malarkey. And yeah, just waiting now for the final vote. We've got an hour left to go. See how it goes, basically. We've done all we can.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, first of all, I mean, I support voting, me, and I just got to give you a big hands up, and everyone else in this chat has to as well, that you're standing up to be counted, Steve. It's what we need. I'm a big believer, me, and you might already know, but I talked to Jordan Gaskill, UKIP in Wigan. I've spent time with Jack Thompson in Batley, and you three are like our next generation of leaders. That's how I see it, Steve. You know what I mean? So I just want to big you up for even stepping up in such a circumstance and such a big election, mate. It's daunting, I know, but you've done it.
Yeah, nice one, mate. I appreciate that. It's just one of those. We've got to stand up and we've got to try and put our views forward, didn't we? And say fight for the normal people, because let's be honest, no one else is doing it. So even if I don't win, I'll give it my best shot at the end of the day. You can't ask for more than that.
It gives you experience as well, you know what I mean? You might fancy running in your ward. Where you might fancy running in your ward at home, you know, and that's what we want. Want people. So quickly, can you give me like what's the past 3 years worth of figures for immigrants coming in on boats?
Oh, well, in 2019, there's 1,800 that came over by boat, just by boat that we know of. And in 2020, it was 8,500. And then in 2021, last year, there was 28,500. This year, we're already over 1,300. And I predict there's going to be 50 to 60,000 easily.
No way. I knew that you were going to say that. And them numbers is like hundreds of % increase, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, it's growing rapidly, and it's going to keep continuing to grow until we get a grip on it. Like the figures have been released that it's £4.7 million a day just to keep them in accommodation, like hotels and stuff. So after that, you've got to include the expenses of their phones, their travel expenses, their clothing, their food. The expenses are going into billions, and the reality is it's only going to climb. And then once they've left hotels, they're going into houses, social housing, private rent, and you name it. They're taking up all the places, and it's only going to grow. This is a massive problem that doesn't just affect, it's not just a numbers game. It has a knock-on effect on everything else, from NHS to housing to you name it, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And people just don't understand. I mean, in the north up here, I live in Oldham, but it's a mill town, so we still got hundreds of tourist houses, and they're just not big enough for the families that we have now. You know
No,
what I mean?
that's the problem. They're always 1 or 2 bedroom houses. They're never getting any bigger than that.
No, and it's no good. We need, you know, we need bigger. You know, and unfortunately, immigration is pushing that thing to make bigger things, because the Romanian family have 5 kids. You know what I mean?
This is the thing, and it's not gonna work, is it? If we've just been strapped into one. I've got a 1 bedroom flat. I've got 3 kids. Do you know what I mean? It's like the normal people are not getting these houses because they're all being taken up. But I'm going to have to leave you on that note, mate, because I've still got a couple of things to sort out.
No worries, Steve. Thank you very much. Good luck. I'll be watching intently and waiting for them results, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Nice one, mate. I'll give you a bell later. Take care.
All right. Thank you, pal. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
What can I say, Big John? Smashing it tonight. Jayda Fransen. I've had a little chat with Steve Laws, possibly Graham Moore coming up later on. And housing is a mega issue. It is a mega issue. You heard it off Steve. Jayda said housing. The Conservatives saying housing. Labour Party's saying housing. Everybody's saying housing. It's one of the biggest issues of the day right now. You know, is that housing thing. Like I said, in Oldham, we have mill housing. Some of these mill houses are over 100-year-old, and they weren't built to accommodate the kind of families we have now. And I don't just mean the size of the families. I mean the whole situation. The mill houses here were for the workers who worked in the mill, so they didn't have to walk far to get to the mill. The mill was at the end of the street, at the end of the road, and the manager used to live in the big house at the end. That's how you used to live, at the big house at the end, and all the other houses had all the works. You only have to walk up. Now you need an house, and if you live in Manchester city centre, you can't live in. Well, you could live in Liverpool, but you've got to commute here and all that lot. It's a different kind of like thing we need in housing now. We don't have mills at the end of the streets where everyone worked. We don't have that no more. You know what I mean? It's got to be different. The tourist houses, no room for parking. There's no room for parking. Every family now has 2 or 3 cars. Where do all these cars go? Look at the state of the roads then. Our road system is one of the worst in Europe. The infrastructure on our roads is one of the worst in Europe. Go to Germany, Poland and that. You don't see crap roads with sinkholes. You don't see things like ABA where the road's not been dealt with by council because you don't see, then it caves in. You don't see that in other European countries. In England, it's like that. No, Emma, I am. You know, I mean, I'm a bigger mix than anyone else. My dad's Caribbean, Jamaican. My mum is English. We can trace our family history back around this area, Cheshire, 22 generations, going back to something like 1510, some mad date like that. And only recently I found out a third of that is Irish ancestry. I don't know where in Ireland, north or south. I'm not sure of the name, but I do know that we've got Irish ancestry. So I'm as mixed as it come. I'm as mixed as it come. And I know, Jayda, it sounds I'm running in elections, I'm leader of my own party. In 10 years' time, I'm going to be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. That's my aspirations. That's where I'm going up to. I'll take it one step at a time, but I want to get there. So we're going on about voting. As you can see, we didn't vote because it won't make a difference. There it is. There it is. And that's what I always go on. That's what I always go on. The other people on the other side, they voted. but we didn't because we didn't think it'd make a difference. But anyway, going on further, let's carry on. Let's look at the... I'm just going to fire the link over to Graham. Just bear with me. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. Big John smashing it tonight as usual. On my streams, we're talking about things, not talking about people. On my streams, we're making tracks. On my streams, I've already got people interested in running as candidates in the next local elections. So Big John's not just a sayer, I'm a doer. Big John's not just a sheep, I'm a leader. I'm a leader. Right, I've sent Graham a link. I probably agree with you there, Pat, definitely. I sent Graham a link, but we might not hear off him. I hope we do, but we might not do, but I've sent it. So yeah, I want to call out me. I want to see how the elections run, and to do with this, to do with the elections in general, there's been a massive rise in postal votes, right? Now, I don't know yet because I've not looked into it, but is there a security man at the post office for all them votes? I wonder. Is there a security man at the post office making sure nothing gets tampered with because postal voting has so much expanded and gone up? Danny, are you... Danny Simpson, are you in the chat, you still? Yes, Danny Byrne. Lorraine, good evening, everyone. Sergeant Furritos, bloody hell. It's well blown up. Martin. Oh, Whackers can't stop dreaming. But the thing is, mate, I'm doing something. Right, prick? I'm doing something, and you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything except for coming on streams, calling people's names, and that is like the most... crappiest thing going, right? And if you're bothered, come to Oldham and talk to me. Oh, come on my streams another time. We'll arrange your streams. Got me email. Let me get my email up. Get on my streams. Other than that, shut your fucking mouth and sling your up. Can someone just... Anybody goes negative on the stream, just kick them off, please. Fingers, I'm not having it. If anyone thinks... anything different and why I'm doing this and promoting voting, then you're not wanted on the stream. You're not wanted because you're part of the problem, mate. You're part of the problem. Whatever colour, whoever you are, you're hidden behind a hidden profile. Don't show your face like me. Come on. Get serious. Honestly, melts. All of you melts, honestly. I'll be running you over when I'm a party leader. You get steamrolled over on my party. See you. You'll be left in the dust. That's what you'll be left in the dust. Yeah. So anyway, going back to, let's get back to Southend. So the last election that David Amess won, he won by 27,000 votes, which was a plus 4% from the last time the election before. Labour Party, check this out. 13,000 votes it came second, 28% of the vote. The Conservatives were 59% of the vote, minus 5.9. Minus 5.9. And that was in the 2019 general election where Labour got absolutely hammered. So minus 5.9. It'll be interesting to see that stat after this election. Liberal Democrats, Nina Stimson in 2019, She got 11% of the vote, plus 6% she got. And then there was an independent. So Labour lost a lot there. They lost a lot. Thank you, guys, sticking up for me. Thank you, guys. So Labour have got a lot to catch. They're not going to do well. I'm probably inclined to agree on English Democrats. Maybe it's Conservative English Democrats, UKIP. But I'd hope that Steve would get second. But I'll see if I can quickly find any more previous on Southend. There is more previous. I know there is. And of course, Big John is going to be running and a leader of his own political party, which makes me ahead of anyone else being Prime Minister of the UK. Just thought I'd mention that to all the melts who always slag me off. Just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, if you're doing anything, just let me know. My email's there. Tell me a repertoire, what you've done besides cancelling people online. It'd be interesting to find out. Right, so let's look at it. Actually, I never got. There was just one sec. Just looking. I've just seen the list of candidates then. I want to find the Psychedelic guy. He said a few things in his statement that was like, that I could agree with. But I mean, people are standing up now, and that's I like that. That's what I want to see. I want people getting more involved in elections. And saying that, I've got young Jordan Gaskell on, 18-year-old, next Wednesday. I'll put the sign up. Jordan's been into politics since he was 16. He's already run as a candidate. I ain't even run yet, and he's 18. So he's leaps and bounds ahead of me. I have to admit that myself. You know what I mean? I'm not even run yet, and I'm 54. 18 years old. He's running in elections. Can't get any more wanting to change the country and the world. He's running for UKIP. It's not my party. I won't probably be doing so many streams with political candidates unless it's debating and talking about policies and things like that. That's what I should be doing when our political party comes. But let me just one second, and I'll tell you what. There's a lot of parties starting up now, right now. Last week alone, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 16 parties have got applications in, including British Freedom Party. And that was just last week, that was just last week. We're getting them in quick because if they've got any political party going through the process of applying now have got they had till the 22nd of January to get their application in. Or was it 22nd of February? No, I'm sure it was 22nd of January. I just actually, yeah, I better just check that. I'm sure they had till 22nd. I think it was 22nd of February. It must have been 22nd of February to get their applications in to be a political party by the May elections. I'm sure it was something like that. But there's a lot of applications. Some of them are just like descriptions and things like that. Labour Party, Liberal Democrats are putting descriptions in and stuff like that. But there is a lot of political parties started up, a lot of them, guys, honestly, a lot, which means more people are interested in voting. Yeah, of course, Phantom Profit. We can, honestly. Great shit, but poor Ellsman. Oh, I have to agree totally. The biased one as well. Fucking... Ugh. Oh, 40 people on. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We're on the Southend election, by-election. We've had Jayda Fransen on. We've had a quick chat with Steve Laws, who's still out now, campaigning. And again, Steve, it's his first elections, and I'm glad he's running. And big up to any candidate who's running for the first time in an election. Big up to you, because it's a big commitment. I know it's a big commitment. Pat knows it's a big commitment. Many of you in the chat will know it's a big commitment. And these people are standing up for the first time, so we have to give them respect. We have to give them respect. Like I told you, Freedom Party Alliance, Peter Smith was in the chat earlier. He talked to him, and there was a girl there who wanted to stand up and run in the by-election in Wakefield for the Freedom Alliance. And she'd never been into politics or anything. And she wants to stand up. She wants to make change. She's sick of the restrictions and the lockdown. She wants free. Brilliant. We get people standing up. You know what I mean? That's what we want. And before time, we'll break our councils up and we'll get more control over them. Then eventually that will spread and we'll take control of the overall tree. But yeah, I'm just give me a minute, guys. I'm just going to have a quick trip to the toilet. Actually, I'll put a video. I'll put some video. Let me put something on first. Let's get a video playing. Let's get a little video playing. Just bear with me. Get a video playing for a couple of minutes. You'll like this. Nice video I've got coming up here.
Accountability. That is the new word of the day. Accountability for all injustices against us. The accountability for locking people up, knowing that all lying. A lot of accountability of the media for telling lies. If the police were here, what I'd be saying to the police is that I don't individually blame you, but I do blame the people who run you. The common person doing something who really don't care about anybody. And really, you police, and that's what we want somebody who's absolutely lied, lied to us all. It's been a long day
Without you, my friend, and I tell you all about it when I see you again. We come a long way from where we began.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Thank you very much, everyone. That was Big John there in Bristol. In Bristol. Justice for Bunny. Right, let's see you. Yeah, of course you can put your link up. God bless, of course. Right, Danny, are you free by any chance, Danny? Right, let's see if I'm not sure if Danny will be able to get on. Send you a link, Danny, anyway. So getting back to the elections. So there's possibly another election in Wakefield coming up by election. But we'll find out about that. What I can tell you as well today is Amjad Bitter, EW. Oh, EW. The Mandalorian, a very good series, I like it myself, and I've watched it all so far. Amjad Bitter, the diversity copper who's been charged with sexual touching, who was a picture of the force for diversity, is up in trial in Bradford. I could go on about the case, I'm not going to, but all I'm going to tell you is that we went to Bradford magistrates when these guys were up, and it's one of the worst gang cases, 19 of them, one of the worst I've been to in court so far. Why was that? Was the amount of charges that these guys had, from sexual abuse charges to threatening to kill people, drugs, everything was in the charges. Everything was in these charges. It's one of the worst groups. And while we was there, a lad came over who I know called Adam McDonough. And this is a group who I think had threatened him back in the day. And he was telling me how bad these guys were as a gang. So this lot are up in Bradford Crown Court right now. Not sure how long the trial's lasting, but they are up right now. There's not much else I can say because it's full restrictions on the case. So I'm not going to deeply talk about it, but we've got videos. There's video footage of us at the court that's on my YouTube, Facebook, Rita's Facebook, and a few other different places. But there is footage there. And they're up in Bradford Crown Court right now. Right now, these guys. Like I said, certainly one of the worst ones I've been to. Certainly the worst one I've been to for. And I pointed this out. I already talked about this and the difference and the charges that these people had, these monsters had on them. And we ended up on the day we ended up talking to one of the victims' family members, a stepdad. And it's brutal. The case is so brutal. Right, looks like we've got Danny on. Good evening, Danny.
Hiya, how are we doing?
I'm good. So have you, what are you doing now? You on the way home, you?
Just a minute, the audio's a bit strange. No, I was about to set off, but I started watching your live stream and Jayda Fransen was on, so I've been watching it ever since.
So you've been down there all the time that Jayda's been delivering leaflets and that. How many of them newspapers would you say have gone out?
I think I need to come back, leave and come back in because it's very low. I can hardly hear you.
Right, go on. Go back in and come back in. Go on. I hope it's not my side. I will do EW. I will do. That's what I looked at last night, actually. But I will do. I'll get it up now, actually. Right, that'll be Danny coming back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So come on, tell us how many leaflets have
Actually,
you...
it's terrible. This 1 minute. I'll see if there's something in settings, audio. Yeah, it must be a setting on my iPad. I don't know how to change it, but I'll have to persist with it.
So come on, tell us how many leaflets, how many of the newspapers, British Freedom Party newspapers, have you managed to bang out?
It's definitely over 5,000. The first day we did it, I can't remember how many we did on the first day, but going off what we've done in previous days, it would definitely have been over 1,000 on that day, and yeah, so it's been well over 5,000, I think, that we've delivered in total of the newspaper and the leaflet combined together.
Good. Had you been? What were people like when you were talking to them at the doors, or whoever you talked to? What were they like with you?
Oh, I can hardly hear you, John. I don't know what's going on with this.
How were the people when you were talking to them at the door? Were they okay with you? Did people converse with you?
Yeah. It was a brilliant reception, to be honest. I mean, even today, one person knew who Jayda Fransen was, and she asked for how she could get in touch with Jayda, and she says, "Oh, is someone going to stand in my area?" So I said to her, "Well, join the British Freedom Party, and you can stand yourself as a British Freedom Party candidate when it gets registered with the Electoral Commission, which I think has been submitted already." So yeah, that bodes well. And I even give her plenty of the Freedom newspapers, because she said she goes to protests, and she was more than happy to take some of the newspapers and deliver them at protests herself.
Good. I mean, chatting with people is all part and parcel of it, isn't it? That's part and parcel of knocking and canvassing. And I know you've got an experience because you're running 2 local elections. That's right, yeah.
Oh, John, I'm gonna have to leave. Come back in and see if it works again. I can hardly hear a word you're saying.
Oh, I hope it's
me?
not me.
I don't understand I'm on an iPad. Is there a setting I need to it? Because it's normally really loud.
I don't think it's me. Everything looks all right on my side. I think everyone else is okay. Right. I'm just settled down in the chat now. We're not. I don't want to see any anti-other party chat, please, guys. Just settle down. We're talking about voting. We're talking about what we can do. We're talking about canvassing as well, and the stuff we get up to. We're hearing off.
John, I'll leave, and I'll try another browser with that link. Normally, when the link's put in YouTube and I click on it on YouTube, when it's in the description or something, the volume's loud. I can't understand why, but
right. Well, I'll put it. Actually, I'll do it now. I'll put it in just on the video stream. Yeah, in YouTube. I'll do that right now.
Right. So I'll leave, go on the YouTube channel and hit the link and see if that works.
Probably will.
Yep.
Probably will. So yeah. So what were it? Jayda said Conservatives, English Democrats. That's what she said. First and second place. I'd hope that it'd be Conservative, UKIP, English Democrats. We'll see. But that's what she said. And I more or less agree. I more or less agree. Good night, Shazza. See if Daniel does make it back. That's sounds like him there. Hello, Daniel.
Hiya, how are we doing?
Can you hear me better?
No. It's shocking. I don't understand why. Maybe it's because I'm using the Harvester's free Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Oh. Well, anyway, I won't keep you long. I'll let you go. Thanks for getting down to Southend and well done for canvassing and leafleting and all that lot. And I'm sure your time will come.
Yeah, it's been a good experience anyway in Southend. It's been it's been good reception. There was a couple of very interesting. It just spurred us on really. It was yesterday. Jayda Fransen was helping us, and they seemed to come out of the door for Jayda. The lefties. There was one woman coming out claiming to have claims that she works for the NHS and was talking about the newspaper and saying it's a load of bollocks and blah blah blah, and and then interestingly there was a lad. He obviously didn't have a chance to read the newspaper because he just stormed out of his house, chased Jayda. Well, he didn't chase. He ran halfway up the street, threw it on the floor, and said that it was racist. But in the Freedom newspaper, there's nothing about race in that Freedom newspaper. It's all about the against the COVID lockdowns, etc. Against this cultural Marxist the Great Reset. It's
1 minute. I've got Paul Rimmer in the chat. I'll let you go, Daniel. Thank you for coming on, and we'll speak soon. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. I'll catch up with you soon. All right. Good
Hi,
evening,
John.
Paul.
I've just got back from a Bible study, and I'm eager to get involved in your stream.
Go on.
I want to fly the flag for Britain.
Of course. I just had Jayda on a minute ago, and
Mister, that's sad.
we've been talking about voting and stuff, and she was telling me how they'd done. I had Steve Laws on, give us a few facts and figures about the amount of people coming in to Dover, and I mean he's been busy. He's been busy on Twitter. I've seen a lot of stuff, and he's been stuff. And Jayda's saying Conservative will win, followed by the English Democrats.
Well, the polls are about to close, aren't they? There's people still voting now.
Yeah.
10 o'clock close. If the Conservatives don't win, it'll be the shock of the century. I mean, there's no major party challenging them. I suppose the English Democrats are the most established of all the other parties. Of course, I used to stand for them and be a member of them myself in days of old. But now we've left the European Union, I feel as a nation, the four home countries have got to come together again. We don't want to go separate. We want to come to unite as the United Kingdom again. We'll be a much stronger force in the world.
Well, in the chat, Pat.
So, who would you vote for, John, in this by-election?
This by-election, who would I vote for? If I wasn't gonna hello. If I wasn't running, if I wasn't in a,
can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Have we lost the sound, John?
I'm still here. Just let me check. I'm still here though. Right, can you hear me, Paul? Can you hear me?
John, can you still hear me?
I can hear you
Give
loud.
the thumbs up if you can. Okay, I'll carry on talking because I can't hear you. But what I want to say in this by-election is that we've got some really major issues facing the country now. We've got to secure our borders again. I've heard that over 1,000 people have come in January alone on the Kent coast. And that's it's not on. It's not on that these people can simply barge their way into our country. We don't know who they are. We don't know their background. We don't know their intentions. And we have to face up to this issue of multiculturalism, that a culture's building up a force in our society. They're building empires within Britain. They're building separate nations. And in the future, isn't going to go down well. In the future, that's going to divide us. And it's going to be one group competing with another group for power and resources. It's already happening now. And they're going to take over entire cities. And the English are going to find themselves more and more as outcasts in their own country. I mean, this multiculturalism is supposed to be about integration. Now, if we integrate, all well and good, because we're all human beings, we can get on together and we can become one and united. But if we have groups amongst us who have no intention of integrating, who want to plough their own furrow and build their own empire, well, that's a threat to us, because they could have evil intentions towards us. They might want to push us aside and take over completely. And this is our country. We have to assert that this country belongs to the British people and the guests that the British are invited. And those who come here have got to love our country. They've got to integrate into the country fully. I'm not just talking now, people lip service to integration. I'm talking about becoming part of the wider community and seeking the best interest of all the British people. Now, there's a lot of division going on about the home countries. Somehow the English and the British are separate entities. No, we're not. The English are part of the British, the major part. The whole of these islands speak our language, English. And, you know, we're all of mixed heritage in a sense, that, you know, we're mixed in Irish, Scottish, Welsh and English. I mean, I've got ancestry. And then we've had immigrants that have come since the Second World War have integrated amongst us. And we need to knit together as a people. We don't want a divided island. We don't want to see hard border with Scotland. Imagine you needed a passport to go to Scotland, or even a different currency, or even, you know, to go from like Newcastle to Edinburgh. It'd be absurd. Like going from Cardiff to Bristol, you'd need a passport. We're not separate countries. We've got a shared identity, a shared blood, a shared history. We are one people with the same DNA. And that goes with the Irish as well. I mean, they're talking about this hard border now between Ulster and the Republic. But what really divides us? I mean, religion and politics, they're superficial things. We have to see what unites us as people, what can bring us together. You know, we've got so much in common. And first of all, we've got a sense of humour in common. We have a good laugh together. I mean, I work in a bar in Liverpool, and people from all over the United Kingdom come to Liverpool every weekend. Could be from Manchester, could be from London, could be from Scotland, Wales, could be from Belfast, Dublin. We have a pint together and we're one people. We're partying together. And I look at the people of these islands and think, there's no real division amongst us. I mean, they've used religion to divide us. You know, Catholic against Protestant. I think that day's over now. I think we put that to one side. They've used politics to divide us. Now we've got the SNP who are doing their damnedest. Their damnedest to make the English hate the Scottish. But I'll never hate the Scottish. When I hear the sound of a bagpipe, that's my bagpipe. That's part of my heritage. When I see that people wearing the kilt, I rejoice at that. That's part of our British heritage. When I see the Welsh enjoying their rugby, I love that. That's all part of being British. That's all part of what we have together that blends us together. And people have come amongst us. I mean, your father came from the West Indies and he joined in our culture, the fellow Christians. And that's important because we all celebrate Christmas together. Hopefully, we all enjoy Sunday as a day of rest. We all have a reverence for Easter, you know, when Christ died on the cross and rose again from the dead. These are special occasions. We have no hostility to people of other faiths, but that's our faith. That's our tradition. And we love our traditions. And they've been in this island for over 1,000 years, 1,500 years. And we're all united in this heritage. And we had an empire which spanned the whole world. And we spread English civilization, British civilization across the globe. We brought law and order. There was piracy, there was slavery, there was all sorts of evil things going on. Sadly, we for a time partook of that, but then we repented of that, and we turned against what was evil, and we fought for what was good. And one of the reasons the British conquered Africa was to stop the Arab slave trade in places like Ghana and Nigeria and Uganda. That's why Winston Churchill fought to the Battle of Omdurman, because he was fighting against the Muslim enslavement of Africans. The British ended slavery in 1806, the first nation to officially end it and then say in 1830 it was totally unacceptable. And all these slave owners in the Caribbean were told they had to release all their slaves, and they were given compensation for that. But the people who were released were given full rights as British citizens. Some of them came to this island and made this island their home, and they've integrated well. On the whole, they've integrated well. They've intermarried. They've raised families. We've had a few problems along the way, but I think overall it's gone okay. And they brought things to this country which people have enjoyed. Yeah. But there has to be a limit on immigration, especially from countries which don't intend to integrate with us, who want to change our culture completely and change our way of life completely. You know, supremacist cultures which come from different parts of the world. We can't allow them to build up empires in our country, because ultimately they will seek to dominate us and subjugate us, and that is unacceptable. And this is reality. This is life. Life is a struggle. It's a struggle between different groups. But it doesn't mean we have to hate each other and we have to fight. But we have to stand our ground at times, and we have to assert this country is our inheritance. And we need all the people of this country to come together. This notion that somehow the British and the English are different is absurd. There are globalists who are not loyal to this country, not patriotic. They're serving international institutions.
1 minute. What? Can you hear me, Paul? No, you can't hear me. Can the chat hear me? Can everyone in the chat hear me? Someone put a 1 up. I've got to sort my sound out. 1 minute, Paul. 1 minute.
John has disappeared again. I think that's the thumbs up to me to carry on talking. Got a by-election tonight, and we're waiting for the results of this by-election. Obviously, the Tories are going to win it, and probably by a landslide. Now, Boris Johnson, we elected him with the best of intentions. We elected him to give us the clean break of Brexit, to set this country free. We elected him to rebuild our borders. We elected Boris Johnson to revive this nation. And he seemed to start off on the right foot, but he's gone right back into what I call a Tony Blair paradigm. He's not controlling immigration at all. He's very woke. He's pushing an anti-Christian agenda, and he needs to stop that. I mean, this guy's supposed to be in the Churchillian tradition. This guy stood for conservatism, but he's pushing all these green taxes upon us. He's talking as if climate change is real, when it's totally ridiculous. Man can no more affect the temperature of this climate than it can affect the direction of the wind. Take it from me, because
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, John.
Oh, good, Paul. Thank you. Well, anyway, we are going to have a discussion. The chat is hotting up. Patriotic Social Part is like that. Everyone's in the. It's firing up in the chat, but we're going to do this. We're going to do it on. We're going to have a debate between Mr. Rimmer and Graham Moore, and we're going to do it on the Revs channel, and it'll be very soon. So just watch out, people. We will have that. We will get there. Paul, you've run. Have you run? I know you've run as a mayor candidate, but have you run as a local council candidate?
Yeah, I've stood for councillor numerous occasions. Stood for police commissioner. Stood for MEP.
So you've got some very valuable skills then. You must have if you've got that much experience.
Well, we were just standing in election after election, and it becomes like a sport in a way. You got to get your leaflet out. Your leaflet's very important if you're a small party, because that's what you present to the public. And we were producing some fantastic leaflets. I mean, I stood for the English Democrats as police commissioner, and somebody said to me, "You'd be lucky to get 100 votes in Liverpool. It's a left-wing city." I got 132 plus 7,000. I got 7,132 votes. And I had the Labour Party on the run because I was setting the agenda in the election. What you've got to do, you've got to attack Labour. You've got to find out where they're weak. And I found out that the Labour Party candidate, Jane Kennedy, had been involved in the Hillsborough cover-up with Tony Blair, the scrutiny. And they got it out, but you know what? I found out how it all works, politics. The media protected her. They tried to cut me off at every turn. Any time I mentioned Hillsborough, they just cut off the mic. They wouldn't allow me to speak about it. That's the local Radio Merseyside, the Liverpool Echo, but it did get out there, and that's one of the reasons it got such a good vote. But I mean, Labour was still flying in Liverpool at the time, but Liverpool has become very disillusioned with Labour, because they've seen the rampant corruption and incompetence of the Labour Party. Ultimately, the Labour Party serves itself. That's all it does. It serves its people who the unions, the Labour Party members, the Jobs for the Boys, people, and they use their position to enrich themselves. That's what the corruption's all about. So we had Labour on the run in Liverpool, and they really they hated me with a vengeance. But it's only a small team of us, 4 or 5 of us. We got out. We got the word out. Because we had a good researcher. I was prepared to shoot from the hip just to speak the truth. They try and intimidate you into silence, but I wouldn't be silenced. And we had great leaflet, and we got on all the local media. I'd ring up the local radio station. I'd bombard the local newspaper with stories. We had a campaign. I mean, I stood for mayor twice as well. And you can, as a small party, make a big impact if you've got something to say, if you're prepared for the fight. But it's a battle. You don't go in there passively and be nice to everybody. You've got to attack the main party, which is Labour. You've got to come out with both guns blazing and frighten the buggers. Frighten them. And they have to respond then, you see. And I would go to the count, 3 or 4 of us in English Democrats, and the Labour Party members would turn their back on me, and they would refuse to shake my hand and everything. And I thought, that's the sign that I got through to them. Because if I was making no impact, they'd have just ignored me. But because they were really, and the local newspaper then set about vilifying me and demonizing me at every turn, trying to rubbish me. And ultimately, I was arrested 3 times by the police. They set the local police on me. And the police tried to fix me up with charges, but they flopped all 3 times. I was taken to court 3 times, and 3 times I turned the tables on the police. I actually ended up summoning the chief constable to court to face charges. And that was about flying the gay flag above the police station, which was against local bylaws, and he didn't have permission to do it. And it ended up being a big issue in the national media, and Parliament, Eric Pickles, as Home Secretary, had to pass an emergency law to make the gay flag an official police flag, so I couldn't prosecute the police. That's how much I had them on the run. And when you get your teeth into this, it's a battle. You know what I mean? Once you get your teeth into this, you see where the weaknesses are, you go for it. And I actually frightened them because I was prepared to take them to court. And of course, Robin Tilbrook, who's head of the English Democrats, he's a lawyer, and he backed me up 100%. And we raised the money, the £5,000 on the back of that, to stand for the police commissioner. Now, I was told that, look, we're going to lose this £5,000. You're not going to get 5% of the vote. We got 7% of the vote. We got the money back. We got that 7,000 votes. And we had an impact right across the city. And this is what the impact you can have locally. This is, if you're going to run a campaign from a small party, start from your local base, make an impact locally. So it was a great experience.
I've been doing that in Oldham. Let's say 2 years ago, you've never heard anyone mention misogyny, right? But now it's on a couple of the independent leaflets, and they're saying the things I'm saying. And what I'm not going to be politically correct, mate. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. I'm refused to. And I'm going to tell them the truth and the facts and all that lot. And they just don't like it. And they're half running scared now in Oldham because the independents are rising. I was talking about Angela Rayner's constituency, and part of it is called Failsworth. And the last elections, 3 independents got in, and they're thinking they'll get the other 2 seats in this election. And that's an independent party who are against Labour. And once they do that, they're going to break up the control that they have over these constituencies. And it's going on in other places in Oldham as well as Greater Manchester in general. I don't think Labour are going to recover from that 2019 general election. I really don't think they're going to recover.
Sadly, John, you've gone off again. I was enjoying that as well. I was going to say to you that the most important thing in a local by-election or as a local candidate is simply to state the obvious. That's what the Labour Party really detests, because they like to blind people to the obvious. They like to talk about things which are irrelevant. They like to talk about grandiose issues. The Labour Party now are always campaigning against racism. It's become their modus operandi now. And they think if they say that, then they're untouchable, that they're the people who matter and you can't go against them. But they're hiding behind that because it's not real. It's not based on love for people. It's just based on trying to stigmatize your opponents. And the Labour Party, it's virtue signalling. And this is what you've got to shoot down. You've got to say the reality that these people are virtue signalling, saying that somehow they're better than the rest of us and more moral. These are usually the most corrupt people on the block. Mm-hmm. These are the people who are telling the lies. These are the people who've buried the bodies. These are the people who are just not interested in running the area well and tackling real issues like rents or homes, housing, or control of litter or whatever. The nitty-gritty issues that matter to people. They're not interested in these issues. What they're interested in is lining their own pockets. And they think if they shout something like racism, somehow they're above everybody else and they're unchallengeable. And you've got to shout them down. I mean, they shouldn't be able to get away with this virtue signaling. And they'll do it on issues like make a massive play about domestic violence. Now, who's in favour of domestic violence? You'd have to be a psychopath. But suddenly they think they're the only people who've got an answer to domestic violence. But they're not showing any love for anybody. They're not interested in people. They talk about the poor. They use the poor. What they call in America, poverty pimps. They're using these things to make themselves look good, to get in power. And then they do nothing. They do nothing for the people. All they do is build their little empires, enrich themselves, and get jobs for the boys. They control the budget, and that's what matters to them, getting their hand on the money, on the taxpayers' money. They don't care about the town. They don't care about the people. You have to expose them for that. And the media won't do it. We used to have a media in this country which exposed these politicians, which investigated them and come to the truth. But the media's all bought now. They're activists. They're Labour Party activists. They're hand in gloves with these people. They're all corrupt together because there's no money in newspapers anymore. So they depend on the local councils now to place adverts and to finance them. So they're all working for each other.
Your phone's ringing. Your phone's ringing. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through now, John.
Right, yeah, you're right there, honestly. You're right with the politicians behind. I mean, we had a politician in Oldham called Michael Meacher. And
yeah, I knew him well.
And then he always fought for the poor and all that lot. Then when he died, it come out that he had like 9 houses in London and all that he'd got through being a member of Parliament and investing it down there and all that lot. Yet he's crying out for his ward in Oldham. I just don't get it, mate. I'm not going to live in a mansion if I'm a councillor. I'll just be living in just the house or the flat. I don't want anything better. I just want what's better for my community. But like you said, a lot of politicians waft off for money and fame and standing and.
Well, Tony Benn, he was the great virtue signaller. He was a man on the left who supposedly stood up for the people, Tony Benn. But when he died, he left over £6 million in his will. And he'd only been a politician. He left nothing to the poor. He left nothing for any charities. He left nothing for any youth organisations. All his wealth stayed in his family, in his little empire that he built up. And I thought, he didn't care about us. I mean, my mate, Mike Lane, who you know, he made a film with Tony Benn. He followed Tony Benn during the Stop the War coalition. Tony Benn was a big spokesman in that. He said every meeting he went to, Tony Benn made exactly the same speech. He said he wasn't open, his heart wasn't open, and he had no interest in the people that he was talking to. He just wanted on the platform, make his speech, get his status, get his round of applause, and off he went. And Mike was filming him and interviewing, and he said, I began to realise this guy was an actor. He wasn't sincere. He didn't connect with people, but he was getting paid a lot of money. He was getting paid every time he made a speech. He was getting paid for going to universities and lecturing. He was getting paid to be an MP, and he was amassing a personal fortune. And yet people worshipped him. He was hero worshipped. People talked about him. He was the people's champion. The truth is, what did Tony Benn actually do for anybody? Really? Nothing. Did nothing. Wasn't interested. He didn't provide one house for any homeless family. He didn't provide one job for any unemployed person. He didn't provide, security for people who have been abused. He wouldn't, we've seen this issue of the grooming gangs and this abuse of young girls, and other forms of abuse that take place. Now, it's politicians should take a stand on these issues. They should be there to defend the vulnerable. And they should make sure that the police do their job, that the police are negligent. Because the police are the same. They serve those in power. The people are powerless. They just brush aside. Now, the powerless in a democracy have a voice and they have a vote. Now, sadly, in this country, they've given that vote to the Labour Party for far too long. And the Labour Party just uses and abuses it. It's not interested in them. I mean, you look at the scale of mass immigration, right? From places like, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. These transformed towns. It's brought in a huge number, millions of unskilled workers or low-skilled workers. And these have competed with the local indigenous population that is here. They've competed with us. They've undermined wages. They've also taken social housing. They've also saturated the benefit system. And they haven't made things better for us. They've come here. Why have they brought them in their millions the way they've done it? They've been brought in as voting fodder for the Labour Party, the dragoon to vote for the Labour Party. That's how much the Labour Party care about the British people, the British poor, or the ordinary people in Britain. They don't. They don't care about us. They care about their own power and empowerment all the time. And you see this with Keir Starmer now. He's sort of supposedly being a moderate and he's supposedly saying sensible things. It's Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson's pulling the strings. It's exactly what happened under Tony Blair. Push out the propaganda. But what do they do once they get power? They hand our democracy and our power and our money over to the globalists. I mean, Tony Blair was a fanatic supporter of the European Union. One of the first things he did was to increase our contribution to the European Union, financial contribution. He was determined to open up this country, not only to foreign goods, but to foreign labour, to undermine our economy, to undermine our way of life. And it was him, Tony Blair, who set about the division of our country through devolution. It was him who promoted Scottish nationalism. Of course, he was Scottish himself with Gordon Brown. They did that deliberately to divide and weaken us. They're not our enemies. There's nothing here. We want patriots, people who love this country, love the people of this country, love our traditions, and want to advance us, want to give us a better life, want to encourage us to be positive in our own country, to form families, to have children, to work hard, and to see the fruit of our labour so that we can be a great nation again, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, that we can be a great nation again. And, you know, we need to have politicians with the heart for this country and for the heart for the people, who are rooted in this country, who are based. We're not bought off by the elites, not already paid for, not simply looking to have a career and advance themselves. We want people who are genuinely in support of the British people and will listen to us, listen to what we want doing. We want good schools for our children. We don't want a woke education. We don't want transgenderism pushed in our classrooms. We don't want the teachers to say to groom the kids. Are you sure you're a boy? Would you think you might be a girl? This is genuine. This has been happening. You know, it's not right. It's not right that we need to promote healthy, positive values. We need to value the family. You know, for too long in this country, men have been denigrated and manliness has been spat upon. We've got the whole feminist agenda. Now, I respect women and I love women. And I want women to be protected and feel secure. And I want women to have a full life in this society. But this isn't at the expense of men. We work together. There's got to be harmony in society. Sadly, this woke agenda, it's setting black against white. And there's no need for that. There's no need for it. We don't need racial organizations. We need organizations that bring people together, harmonize people. You know, we don't need Black Lives Matter. We need all lives matter. We don't need, to say that somehow Islam is a protected group in society, that their agenda is promoted above all others, that somehow you cannot criticize them. If we see faults in the way they're behaving, we have the right to point them out. We need free speech. We need free speech. And we don't want criminality in our society. We don't want to see knife crime on our streets. We want the police to put an end to that. We don't want drugs to be rampant in our society, our kids being pushed drugs and our culture promoting drugs. We want people as far as possible to live healthy, clean lives because that's in the best interest of everyone. We want a sane, sensible, decent society. And our politicians need to hear that and need to act on it. What are they acting on? Who's promoting this woke agenda? It's not coming from the ordinary people. We're not demanding that our kids be allowed to go through transgender education. That's the last thing we want. We want our kids to grow up to be healthy adults to have children of their own so we can be grandparents. I mean, my granddaughter, she was 10 today. And that's a lovely thing, you know. That's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to her. It's a blessing to my son and to my daughter, you know. These things, this is what we want. We want our families to be protected. We want homes. We want decent jobs. We want law and order. We want the criminals to be pushed to one side. And we want a society which is united and positive. It's not asking much. These are simple things. But sadly, our politicians don't listen to us. They're listening to somebody else. Who are they listening to?
Everyone's against us. The Christian faith is being attacked all the time. I keep seeing the street preachers getting arrested and stuff like that, and I'm like, what? And then obviously Islam is given a priority over everything else. It's evident in our council, and I'm sorry, but like, we've just invited a load of criminals in who are ripping our country off. Just recently, there's been a £3 million car swap shop, and a couple of the guys are from Oldham. And these guys set up fake companies and even got COVID money. Paul, and they're ripping cars off. They went to one house, the guy come out and said, if you don't get him, we're going to murder you and your family. And he went back in the house and didn't phone the police. Honestly, you know, this is a lawlessness on our streets now. And it's not come from English people or Christian values, not come from that way, it hasn't. And like you said before, there was a lot of racial tensions in the 70s. We did go through a few rough spots. Everything is rough. When you make a new machine or you have a new machine, it never works perfectly straight away. You've got to get it going right, you know, and you've got to have all the bits in it working at the same pace and all getting on with each other and all that lot. And I agree that the Christianity and the immigrants that we've had before has been good. And the Indians came in and they mixed in with everyone else, and they're fine, you know what I mean? But now, and we know for the past 20 years, the immigration levels have been way over than the net immigration we're supposed to have. Got all these illegals coming in. We've got Albanians here now. So now, when someone's getting the weed grow tuck, it used to be you go around, a couple of lads, beat a lad up, and you take all his weed. Now these Albanians go and execute you. Point blank in the head, they executed a guy over a 10-gram weed in grow in Newcastle. £10,000, they executed him. You know what I mean? We've got these people here now, and it's just,
This is the problem, John. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's accelerating. If you don't stand up to the criminals, the criminality will just get out of control. They get cocky. I mean, it's not only we've got a soft politicians and a soft police force, we've got a soft judiciary as well. Treat these people with a soft touch. And this is not what people want. People don't like crime. They don't like this, their neighborhoods being criminalized. They want to be secure and they want their kids to be safe. So it's important that the police do a proper job and the courts do a proper job. Now, you're talking about division, right? We need something to unite us. Patriotism is a way to unite the people. If people come to Britain, they shouldn't feel hostile to Britain and the British people. If they come here, they should try and make a positive contribution. They should be thankful that we've let them in, and they should join in and try and help the country forward. You can't come to Britain and put down the people, start to condemn the people, and start to take, and offer nothing back in return. That's not on.
You sound like my friend. He's a Guinan Rastafarian, and he has his own channel. It's called Truth and Rights, and you sound like him. He said the same thing. He said, right now in this day and age, you come to Britain, it's it's a blessing, and you're privileged. You're privileged to be part of this country right now. forget years ago, but right now you're privileged. You get looked after, get health benefits. Your kids get taught. You get a lot more stuff now in England than you do in other parts of the world. But they don't come and respect it. They just don't want to come and respect it.
Well, we know that our benefit system is being ripped off on a huge scale. And the idea that people come from overseas, simply sign on to our benefit system and then breed like rabbits and accumulate as much money as they can. To me, that's theft. That's taking what is ours and stealing it. And the politicians have enabled this. I mean, you talked about immigration going out of control. Up until Tony Blair, it was 50,000 a year, and we could cope with that, and we could integrate, and there was no threat to our community cohesion. There was no threat to our culture. There was no threat to our way of life. People who come here could integrate into our society. Tony Blair took over, and he increased immigration tenfold, virtually overnight. It went from 50,000 a year to 500,000 a year. And that transformed our cities. It transformed our communities. It made everyone feel uneasy. We don't know what the future holds anymore. It doesn't look good. If you've got any sanity at all, you're looking ahead and you're thinking, it's not looking good. Where is this all going to end? Because the way things are being transformed, every city in Britain now is being transformed on a daily basis. And we're seeing we've got like a mayor in London, Sadiq Khan, who's a Muslim, and who says, I'm advancing the Islamic agenda. He gives out free Qurans. He has housing, Muslim-only housing. He plays the race card at every opportunity. He's running London into the ground, our capital city. He's doing a terrible job. But he gets away with it because at the election time, he gets out the Muslim bloc vote. 1.3 million Muslims in London or more, and they all come out and vote for him. That's a sort of undermining of our democracy. Democracy is about individuals making choices and going out and voting. Of course, they rigged the election here, just as they do in the States, using postal votes, which are harvested and then counted en masse. The Labour Party have been doing this now for 20 years, 25 years since Tony Blair. They've been abusing the electoral system, and it's killed local politics. It's killed competition in local politics. Now, you can demand an English Parliament for the English whatever, but that's not going to change anything. That will change nothing. What we have to demand is that politicians serve our interests across the four nations. Dividing us and setting us against each other will weaken us. It won't lead to these issues being faced and resolved. We need unity. We need unity amongst the working class and across the classes, and we need unity across the four home nations. And that if we unite as a people, we can overcome these issues. Now, there are those amongst us who want to divide us and set community against each other. Now, the thing is with the Labour Party, which always claims it's against racism, they are the people who promote racial difference. They are the people who want racial consciousness to be high. And for like certain groups to feel as if they're being, they love to go back into history as far back as they can go and say, look, you're the victims and you should feel aggrieved and you should feel angry and you should blame other people. I mean, often it's the white man in it who gets the blame, the white Christian man. You're responsible for this and that. And yet we're just the same as everybody else, trying to pay our mortgage, trying to raise our children, trying to be as decent as possible. And yet we're having the finger pointed at us. But, I don't blame black people for that. I don't even blame Muslims for that. I blame the politicians.
Yeah.
The politicians are playing off one group against another in order to empower themselves.
Definitely. Can I just give you some bit of information? So we was talking about immigration. So from the 1950s, the Windrush time, to 2000, we had our figure of people coming here was 10 million in all that time, in that 50 years. in just 20 years, we've already done 10 million in 20 years. So 50 years, 10 million. 20 years now, since 2000, 2020, we've done 10 million already. So in another 30 years, how many more millions? It's flying up. The figures are flying up, like you said. They're flying up.
Well, we're seeing demographic transformation, aren't we? Our cities look like different places now. Now, sadly, we've had mass abortion in this society, which meant that we've lost a lot of the indigenous people. A lot of the people who've come into this country, obviously, are from different cultures, who've not integrated. So we've got like these huge ghettos now within each city. The cities are segregated. And we see this different areas look totally different from other areas. Multiculturalism has not worked. It's failed because we don't feel better as a society. We don't feel more cohesive. We don't feel enriched. The truth is, we have the majority population, which is now feels under threat. We're like losing our national culture. And it's being replaced with this woke culture and with this alien religion. It's being replaced. And, you know, I fear for my grandchildren. I fear for them. I mean, my granddaughters, you know, they've got some West Indian, African blood in them. They've got some Indian blood in them. They've got some Chinese, Thai blood. They've got all sorts of things. Global children, really. But they've grown up in an English culture, and they're Christian kids, you know, and they're happy kids. But I wonder what the future holds for them.
It's tough.
I mean, will they have a society where they can feel at peace, where everyone is living in harmony? Or will they grow up in a society where there's friction, where there's fear, where there's groups trying to dominate other groups, and we're not coming together in harmony? This is what the politicians need to build, a harmonious society. And I think one of the best things we can do now is to stop immigration and say, look, let's stop this. And what we've got here now, let's see if we can make it work.
Yeah.
Because if we just carry on slipping down this slope, it's gonna run away from us.
Yeah. Yeah. Total agreement, Paul. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. And you know what we're going to leave the kids, like you said. I mean, I spent a lot of time with all my. I've no kids myself, but every single one of my nephews, nieces, grandnieces, I've taught them all to swim. I spent time. I took them on holiday. My grandniece has been down to London twice with me, you know, and stuff like that. You know, I'm dead active in a family unit, and now I'm looking after mum, which I love. But you know what we're going to leave them. You know, it hurts me that we are going to leave them a lot worse, because at the moment everything's going up. Crime's going up, knife crime, violent crime, crime against women. It's all rising because of these different cultures. You know what I mean? It's mad. It's mad. I've pointed this out in Oldham quite a few times, but no one says nothing. No one does nothing. And if it's something to do with a white person, it'll be all over the news. But when anyone of colour comes up, it's dumbed down. No one wants to say anything, you know. And you're like, what? No, that can't be right. You've got to call them out still. You know, you've got to call a spade a spade. You've got to call a fork a fork.
Well, the truth is, John, look, we need to have free speech on these issues and a real debate. We don't need to stigmatize people or to use offensive language, but we've got to be honest about what's going on. We've got to be honest about what our fears are. We've got to be honest about what's been happening in our society. Now, the way they just tried to brush this whole grooming gang scandal under the carpet is just absurd. How can you do that to a nation's youth? Like, to talk about up to 1 million young girls are being abused by these grooming gangs. And it should have, you know, they were produced a report on it, and the report was shelved because it pointed the finger at people and it didn't want to upset people. But when you're faced with evil and with evildoers, you've got to upset them to stop them. Now, how are we going to build a harmonious society, a genuinely harmonious society, where we can live in peace and prosperity. That's the issue that ordinary people want resolved. They don't want to see change. They're talking now all the time about a new Britain, a changed Britain, more mass immigration, demographic transformation. It's scary, really, because we're feeling excluded. We're feeling like somehow our voice, diversity seems to exclude the indigenous population. Seems to exclude our traditions. It seems to exclude our religion and our background. And we're supposed to feel guilty for who we are in our own country, for being English in England or British in Britain. We're supposed to feel guilty for this. And somehow we've committed a crime when all we've tried to do is the best for ourselves and our children. And that other people have come here amongst us and abused us. Not all. A lot of people have come here and have joined in and made a positive contribution. And they have enriched society. But when people come here, not to make society better, but to replace us, that is unacceptable for me. That's colonization. That's what these people fought against in the past. Now, colonization was a moment in history which is past, but it's happening here. I mean, people talk about revenge, but look, we can't be responsible for what happened in the past. We are living today. We're interested in the future, in our children and our grandchildren. We're not lingering on the past. We're looking ahead. So these people who come for revenge, or these people who come to put the boot into us, we don't need them. They're going to harm us. And we need to be able to say this. We need to say, and we need politicians and a national media, which is not always putting the boot into the British. It's not always putting the boot into the English, but is actually respectful of us. And this is the point. We don't feel that we're represented now. We don't feel like the politicians talk for us. We don't feel like the media listens to us. The academics, they all seem to be speaking from the same hymn sheet: political correctness, the woke agenda. And this is scary, really. It's a nightmare, to be honest, John. It's a nightmare unfolding in our society.
Let me just go through Facebook. There have been a few on my Facebook. Linda Watson, Stephen Jeffrey Khan, go on, lad. Good evening. Kenton Renshaw as well. Andrew Dalton, Oldham lad there. Alan Kerr, Lord Tom, June Grimshaw, Joseph Blair. Good evening, Joseph. Brian Parsonage. Big up, Steve John. Good lad, Brian. Hopefully, Brian is a possible candidate to run in elections in Blackpool area, so that'll be good. Colette, Jim Bryant, Wendy Galloway, good evening, everyone. David Stanway at the bottom there, I've got you all in, and Hazel, just checking through. But no, yeah, our history, everything's under attack. I'm coming to Liverpool, actually, to the Charles Wotton blue plaque by the at one of the docks.
Upper Parliament Street.
Is
that Charles Wotton College on Upper Parliament Street? It's around the corner from me, John.
Right. Well, I want to go there and do a video on David Ogle-Sola, right? Because he's told the story of that lad, but he doesn't tell all the story. He doesn't tell how Charles Wotton and his mates attempted to attack and kill 3 police officers. Don't say that. Not one little thing in his history. Now, I understand it was tragic. He died and all that, but I want to know all the history. I don't want to know a one-sided history of it. And he does not say, in his book, he does not say anything about these guys, Charles Wotton and the other guys, attacked the police when the police come to investigate why there was trouble before and tried to kill our police officer. It's not even in his book, Paul. And I'm furious, mate. This is a guy who's a professor or teaches in a university, and he's teaching our kids.
That's interesting, that, John, because I'm aware of the Charles Wotton case, but I never knew that he'd attacked a police officer. And there's always 2 sides to every story. And when you start to turn over the stones, you find out that it's not simply black and white. There are other issues involved here.
And that's what they do all the time. They're good at doing it, the left. They're good at involving issues that shouldn't be involved and saying things that shouldn't be said. I mean, the great saying is if you erase your history, you're doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past.
Yeah.
So why are we letting our history get erased? Everyone knows that parts of the slave trade were bad and people made. We understand all that, but it wasn't me and it wasn't you. You know what I mean? It's people who were here hundreds of years ago. And I think Britain's given enough back to the world to repent all that. You know what I mean? And we, you know, we're taking people in. We took people in from the Windrush times, you know, and there was friction, but we took them in. And I think that English people or British people have given enough back to the world, you know. And what we should be looking at is what more can we help the world with? Not giving, but help. You know what I mean? And it's madness.
What worries me about the left is they weaponize everything. They turn history into a weapon and they use it for political reasons. They want to create a group which feels aggrieved and becomes a victim group, which they can then use. And they want to demonize and put down other groups. And it's wrong. It's wrong. We don't need that sort of approach in society. We need all the time. Our politicians should be there to heal differences, to bring people together. I mean, the truth is, Liverpool, right, had a coloured population before the Second World War. It was the only major coloured population in Britain before the Second World War. And the people integrated, and many of the people from that community have now integrated so much into the wider society, they just become the same as everybody else. Now, that to me is a good thing. You know, that to me is something that works successfully. And there's a lot of great stories of people who've done well, who've integrated, leading happy lives, but they always want to focus on things when things go wrong, when there's some sort of conflict involved, as if to give the impression that it's always conflict, it's always hostility. But as a Christian, I know that the local churches have always done great work in Toxteth. I live in Toxteth. And the local churches have always been integrated, and they've always been vehicles to bring people together. And you know, you could go to any pub in Toxteth, right? And there'll be there mixed race people, white people, black people, drinking together, chatting together. There's not a spirit amongst the people for division. The spirit is to come together as a community. So the way the media want to divide us and set us against each other, there's something rotten in that. There's something evil about it, you know.
Oh shit! I've been talking. I've been talking with my mic off.
I thought so. I was letting you rant there to John because it seemed like a good flow, but I couldn't hear the word you were saying. So just repeat that.
Yeah. I want to have faith in the police, but I don't. And they're a national disgrace. Big John in Oldham Mayor's question time, I said to the Oldham Chief of Police and the Manchester Deputy Chief, said, "Oh, coppers are all coppers, all you coppers are sex offenders." You know, I likened them to say, what did I say? I said, "You all might as well be sex offenders." That's what I said to them. They're a national disgrace, and you know, I want to have faith in the police, but I don't have any faith. But I want to, you know what I mean? I want to, but I don't know what to.
The police are there; they're the pawns of the politicians. That's all they are, and they'll do exactly what the politicians tell them. So if you got corrupt politicians, you end up with corrupt police force. If you got politicians who are perverts, you end up with the police who are perverts. If you got politicians who ignore sex crimes, you get the police ignore sex crimes. And that's the sad truth. They do what their bosses tell them.
Disenfranchised, thank you. Half pint, good evening. I've seen there's been a lot of chat. Nobby Noble, good evening there, sir. Hank McGarrett, I'm here. I've got my sign back. I'm back, guys. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm tired now. Anyway, I've been on for over 2 hours, but I just wonder how the count's going now. I'm going to try and get in contact with Graham Moore. Just message him and just try and find out how long the count's going to be. They might have an idea. If you've got
It won't be there until after midnight, John.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, it won't be in till after midnight. Mind you, I don't know. It might probably be a low turnout, but they don't do these things quickly. They do in places like Sunderland. Sunderland love to get their result in very quickly, but normally they drag it out. The bureaucrats, they like to, because they're getting paid by the hour. You see. I've been to many of these counts and I'm thinking, why are you dragging this out? Because we're being paid by the hour.
I loved it. I loved it going to the count in Barnsley. I loved it, mate.
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's got excitement about it, hasn't it? Yeah. It's like going to a football match or something. Let's see who the winner's going to be.
Someone told me about not having my mask on. I said I'm exempt, and he said something else, and I said, listen, I went on the Zoom meeting and asked about exemption, and he just shut up then, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm looking forward to going in Oldham Council. Now they can turn their backs or whatever, but I'm going to be in that count chamber with them, you know what I mean? I'm going to be leering over my boxes. I'm going to be checking my seal numbers. I'm going to have people at the polling stations checking when the boxes get sealed. I want to do all this, you know what I mean? I'm going to keep them on the toes a lot, and I'm looking forward to it. You know what I mean? I'm obviously not someone who's easily intimidated by like chat. I'm not easily intimidated by I won't go chatting to people or I won't chat. I'll chat, mate. I'll chat with anybody. I'll tell the mayor what I think. I'll tell the chief of police what I think about police. You know, and it should be vetting them properly. I will chat, me. Some people won't, but fair enough. But I will, and I won't be so easily intimidated that way. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be hunching down. I'll have my shoulders right up, and I'll be walking in that count hall.
You've got nothing to fear except fear itself. And when you get in there, John, you'll have a chance to speak to them all and to let them know what you think. But when I went to Oldham once in a by-election, I met Michael Meacher, and I started to talk to him and said, look, Michael, what's happening with immigration? Labour's lost control of the border. And he said, what do you expect us to do? What can we do? I said, you're in the cabinet. You're the man with the power. If you don't do anything, nobody's going to do anything. I said, surely it's your responsibility to make sure our borders are strong. He said, I can't do nothing about it. I said, well, you're just passing the buck. And he started to shake, Michael Meacher. And then he just ran off as quick as he could. But I thought, he's a cabinet minister in the British government. And he's a total wimp. That's what I thought, John.
I guess a lot of them are, and the other people in the government, they must have things on some of these politicians. You know, I do a lot of work, as you know, with Justice for Our Boys, with Tracy's case, the 3 lads in Haynes. Now, Nick Hurd was a serving member of Parliament at the time in Ruislip, whatever the constituent.
Ruislip, yeah.
And the families have gone to him, and he's drafted up a letter for 4 points for a retrial to get the case back to the seat. I've got the letter. I've got a copy of the email. And then all of a sudden, he quit his job. He moved to Northern Ireland and don't speak to families.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So somebody must have something big on him for him to quit his job, move to Northern Ireland and ignore them families when he wrote a letter out for 4 points for a retrial or a redo. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. So I can imagine. And Arlene's scared that I might get bought off and all that. I said, nobody's going to buy me. Nobody's going to buy me. And I don't want any.
You're too expensive, John.
I don't want any foreign influence either. I don't want anyone from China putting money into my party.
What did they offer you? Egg fried rice every night for a year? With your favourite Chinese dishes.
I'm priceless, mate. Although I wouldn't mind. There is no Chinese in Oldham Town Centre now. There used to be.
Wow.
There isn't one there now. I think
there used to be a man in the French Revolution. I don't know if you're aware of him. Robespierre. The French Revolution of 1789. He was known as the Sea Green Incorruptible. He could not be corrupted. And we're going to call John Lawrence the Oldham Incorruptible. The man of a pure heart and pure intentions.
Definitely.
And you can set an example, John, and you can show them up.
Honestly, and I don't want, all this Chinese have been paying this person. You're thinking, what's going on in our country? Do we run it, or is it some foreigners who run our country? That's what it's like now, isn't it?
Well, you'll find out if you ever get into a public office, John. You'll be offered, they'll say, come and join this, or Friends of Israel, or China, or something, and they try and get you involved, nest you in, and then there's all sorts of money comes your way, and they buy you see. Money talks, sadly. But this is the thing, people have got to be accountable. You see, when we were in the European Union, we didn't have a clue who was running this country. These bureaucrats in Brussels, nobody knew who they were. The European Commissioner, the Council of Ministers, making all the decisions in this country. And even the British Commissioner, we didn't know who they were. And this is when it all became remote. Nobody was accountable. And they all started to line their own pockets. This is when they began to serve other interests except ours. And this is the thing with Brexit. It's given us a chance now to make our politicians accountable to English and British people again. And say, look, we know who you are, and this is what we want you to do. It's time for the British people to wake up and realise that it's their country, that they're in charge, that they pick the politicians. Use your vote wisely. Don't just go blindly voting for these big parties. Don't listen to the media. Start to think and talk amongst yourselves. Start to listen to other voices. Start to elect different politicians. People like yourself, John, people of the people, for the people, by the people. That's the true democracy. And if we had land in this country, everyone would be a lot happier because we could feel like we have ownership again, that people are working in our interests. For too long, these politicians have had an easy run. And this COVID, it's made it even worse. We've got to get it back. This is our role, John. We are the real Democrats, the real populists. We're of the people. And we need new forces to emerge to take power again in this country and assert ourselves.
Hopefully, that might be my party. Hopefully, it might be my party. My party. Might be my party.
John, you're the man. You're there. You're the man at the moment. You're a man at the centre of things. You've got the airwaves here. You've got a YouTube channel, and you're about to make things happen. So I'll be with you all the way, John.
Oh.
And I'm going to say good night, John. It's been great being on your show.
Thank you, Paul. Honestly, it's an honour. It's an honour. The honour's all mine.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, chat. Thank you. Oh, Amigo News. Bonnie lad, I'll pick up with you after this. Maybe next week or week after will be good for a show, something like that. So, everybody in the chat, please, if you notice Amigo News, if you can subscribe to his channel. It's Bonnie lad. I'm sure some of you know already. And I'm going to do a show. He's going to interview me on them. We'll do a show there, and I'll probably talk more about the party and stuff like that. But I mean, I've got some really eye-opening stories, mate, to tell that I've only told a few times, and these are life experiences that have happened to me that have made me, that put me in the position where I am now, and they're awful things. They're awful things, and I've been bad. I've been politically correct in the past. That's why I'm so adamant against it. It wasn't anything to do with anyone getting raped or anything, but I did something that I thought was politically correct, you know, and afterwards. And it's not nice. Not nice when you feel that you've gone that way because you've been indoctrinated like everyone else. But yeah, please subscribe to Amigo News in channel there. And I'll get off. I'm going to try and phone Graham. He can't get on, but I'll try and give him a ring, see what's going on. They've not started sorting anything out yet, not even started counting, even though it's only 11:15. He informed me. But yeah, it's a Southend West by-election. I've had Jayda Fransen on for 20 minutes. Steve Laws did a few minutes. Paul Rimmer's been on. You've heard me talking to Danny Simpson, who's been out with British Freedom Party down there, leafleting and canvassing. So it's been I've enjoyed the show tonight. I've enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Big up everyone in the chat. I've got Jordan on next week. Jordan Gaskill UKIP next week. I've got him on, and I'll probably get a few more guests on coming up to when I get my party registered. But yeah, I'm here. It's Big John, and I'm signing off for the evening. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to be doing a bit about the PTSD camp next week. I've got some more stuff to do on Tracy's, the 3 boys case. And I'm trying to get my leaflet together. And I've got some canvassing to do as well. But I've been offered help. So I think canvassing part will be it'll be a nice fresh run, I think, the canvassing part. I've got the area mapped out. I know what I've got to do. So I'm going to be focusing on that. But thank you again, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Big Johnny, I've had a brilliant time tonight. I've had plenty of people in the chat. And some of my mates from Oldham have been in the chat on Facebook. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think someone bumped come in again there. Oh, God bless is on. I'll get him on. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think someone bumped come in. God bless, God bless, God bless.
Oi, 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 mucker.
How are you? Have you put
Never
your
as good
channel
as you.
link? Yeah.
You what, mate?
Have you put your channel link in the chat or anything? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's no competition. You just got another brother fighting the good cause for when you're not about. So look, I'm not in it for the monetization or anything like that. It's just that sometimes we need to just have a bit of a chat and get it off our chests. So that's what I'm doing it for. Nothing more, nothing less. And I know a lot of guys now, and there's some really good people out there. And wow, you've had a good show tonight. Really enjoyed your show.
I know, good. I mean, I've had a few buzzing guests on, you know what I mean? Jayda come on for a bit. And it's all about the election. I just want people to vote me. I want people to get more involved. I know Jayda wants the French Revolution, and she said she's not bothered about the voting, but it's up to us to call them out. You know what I mean, mate? Because if we don't do nothing, then it'll be like in years' time. Well, you didn't do nothing, and now it's like this when we could have done something. And this is the way I want to go. I've all, you know, I wanted to be a politician, me, more than 10 years ago, and I weren't into any of this. I didn't go on any serious demos. I weren't filming anyone. I never did any public speaking. But I thought about politicianing then, back then, you know what I mean? Over 10 years ago, I would say about 15 years ago. And now I'm nearly got my own party. I'm going to be running in elections. Can't wait.
I'm so pleased for you. I really am. Like I said to you back in the day before we even started saying about it, you got such a good following where you are. That's why you should do it. And I spoke to Steve as well a while back. I said, mate, listen, you know, yeah, we got some people down there, but they're a bit rough and ready. But Steve is presentable. He is somebody to the average person that listens to the fucking BBC and ITV and becomes sheeps. He is presentable in such a fact that people will say, oh, yeah, he's a nice guy. Look how good he looks. He's got tattoos all over his face and everything else. So we need the people like you and John, you and Steve to get this thing going. And I'm really pleased for you. I'm made up for you, mate. Honestly, I really am. You deserve it.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. How are things down there anyway?
Oh, fuck me. I've got a Batman Forever fruit pinball machine that even the top guys in England can't suss it out. I'll get it done. I've got a little problem with it. Apart from that, we got you know that guy called AB goes, yo.
Yeah.
Like, he was in Swindon a few days ago and I fucking missed him.
Oh.
Good for me. And the thing is, we got 4. I thought we had 3. Now we got 4 Afghani and refugee hotels. One of them a 4-star hotel. Another one that they're having to refurbish at the they announced it in the local papers that this hotel has now been refurbished. The reason why it got refurbished because the refugees that were there wrecked it, absolutely smashed the fuck out of it, and we're the ones paying for it. And now they're in another hotel in the town centre. Now, where they are in the town centre, it holds up to 640. Now, if you look at AB's one for Swindon, you see him going along. He didn't even know. And then the thing is, what I've noticed as well, I don't know if you guys as well have noticed as well, that these places like the COOF testing centres and outside nightclubs, outside hospitals, and outside these hotels are all barely speaking English, like Nigerian type people, which is a bit alarming. And they're quite aggressive. They're very aggressive. And surely you should have a certain amount of language skills to get an SIA license. But that's another debate. So this holds 640 of these Afghan refugees. And as I said to you before, guys, if you look on YouTube and type in Afghanistan HD, you'll see YouTubers, people like me and you, John, that go on holiday and just film their experiences off the beaten track. Afghanistan is not in peril. They got plenty of food. They have no energy problems. They have no fuel issues. Don't believe the hype. Do not believe the bullshit. And this thing about when they evacuated them all late last year into the country, they had notice to leave that country that they knew is being handed over to the Taliban 8 months before. So don't listen to this bullshit. Anyway, going back to this hotel, the hotel was located right in the centre of Swindon, where all the nightclubs are and the bars, where all these silly little girls, I don't mean to be rude when I say that, but, 18-year-old girls, 17-year-old girls that have too much baby sham would be walking around looking for a taxi, piss out their heads. Talk about putting a wolf amongst the sheep. It's ongoing here as well. I really despair. This thing about the £5 million a day, I think it's a lot more than that, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a lot more. Because is that including the cost of security, the meals? So what they're trying to say is £32 per refugee. to give them £5 a day for their pocket money, for their clothes, their mobile phones, their SIM cards, so they can keep in contact with their family for the family reunification. And each one of them that come here can have 15 family members. People are not taking this all into account. I mean, your guy that's on earlier on, wow, I'd love to jump in. I've subscribed to his channel. I've seen him around a few times before, and yeah, I do like him. I do like him. He said we're all talking about
Paul Rimmer.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but very well respected in the ranks. Paul is, like he said, he's got his repertoire. He's run for mayor twice. He run police crime commissioner. He's took people to court and everything and won and all that. You know, honestly, he's got a good repertoire as Paul, and he's a good man, good Christian man. Honestly, good values and everything.
It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Jewish or Catholic. What it is that we all have that kind of, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or not, but that kind of Christian upbringing where if you're walking along the street, you know, there's someone in the gutter or someone's hungry, you know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder. You know, we all look after each other. You know, things like, you know, back in the day when we was at school, we used to go into school in the morning, some banging Jesus tunes. You'd see a picture of the Queen, and if you fucking gobbed it off your teacher, you get that brick of a wood chalkboard thrown at you. You had respect for everybody. Now it's just, you know, I'm experienced at the moment. I've got a 12-year-old daughter who's got some serious mental health issues, and I'm fighting tooth and nail to get her seen. I feel like, coin a phrase, I feel like I'm in a pinball machine being bounced around from one to another. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be desperate soon. I'm going to look one of those fucking Insulate Britain wankers, super gluing myself to the NHS doors to the entrance of the hospital if we don't get seen soon. And so, honestly, I know it's funny, but our NHS is fucked. I mean, our NHS is really, really fucked, and I'm starting to see it now, but that's another story for another night that can go on for hours, you know. So, but wow.
It just reminds me that I got an email. I talked to someone over Twitter, an email, and there was a couple, and I think they're both over 60, and her husband not been getting any treatment in hospital, and they delayed his treatment, and there's stuff a bit wrong with her. But I mean, that was right at the beginning of the lockdown. I just felt awful for him, mate. You know what I mean? I just felt awful for him because there's nothing wrong with me, but I thought, well, other people though who are poorly and they're not getting treated and stuff like that. It's just Well,
no, the thing is, right? This is what it is. What I said to you earlier on about apparently this £5 million per day. I do not believe or trust any figures that are given to us by the government. And even Steve earlier on, when he came on, he said over 1,000 last month. It's not.
That we know of.
It's 1,500 that have come through Dover alone. Then you got Dungeness and all the other beaches. Then you've got all the things like scam marriages, scam student visas, and then the ones that are coming over through the tunnel or coming over through a ferry and all the other things. You know, it's just, and then you got the legal ones. Apparent one, I want to say legal. They were like the 20. Not many people knew this. Yes, last year we had 20,000 Afghanistanis. This month. End of last month and this month, we got another 20,000 to come. See, that's not being publicised. And so what are the true costs? It's like the hospitals. When last winter, they were saying all the beds were full up and stuff like that. The reason why the beds were all full up is because they sacked 80,000 care home workers for not having the jibber jab. And the thing is, where there's a shortage of care home workers, they could not send them back to the care homes. They had to keep them at hospital for care.
Yeah.
That's what caused the backlog on beds.
Yeah.
Say the truth. I mean, just say the fucking truth, please. Stop fucking spinning it. And so people like yourself, I mean, I applaud you. You know, we need people like you to get on and get this country back on its feet. It's disgusting. It's disgusting what's going on.
I'm just... put my links up to. I put my link up to Gab if you're on Gab or anything like that. I put it in VK as well.
Are you on Getter yet?
I'm on Getter. I'll put my Getter link.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying that. I've subbed to you already.
I'll put my social media links in, so if you can subscribe to them all, please, that'd be lovely. I am on TikTok, actually. I've been doing some little videos that have been getting some views, so I'm going to keep doing little things. I've got some mint videos to go on TikTok, so I'm going to carry on.
Because I've not really got into it, because there's so many different platforms, and all I've seen in the newspapers was some woman crying because she couldn't get any toilet roll, or my kids are watching the most stupidest things. But is TikTok quite good then?
Well, it depends what you want to watch. There's loads of fucking birds on it, all, you know, with skimpy clothes on. But then there's loads of animal things on, and then there's guys who like, you know, like if you've got a little bit of a problem where you can't get a bit of wood in somewhere, they show you how to cut it and all that, like, you know, and mad stuff like that. But
YouTube.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, but they're under 3-minute videos. You don't have anything over 3 minutes, but you can do lives on it as well. So I'm just expanding a little bit, getting into it. But I've had some good views. But we're at a sorry state at the moment. I just thought that we do things in elections. I just want to call someone out. If I see a problem in the elections, and I said this earlier on, if we've had an increase in postal votes, is there a security man at the post office when the votes go there?
Wow, you're reading my mind. You beat me. You beat me to the pit by the pit. Then I was about to ask you, how do you feel about postal votes?
Well, I know through experience. I went to I did time in Barnsley with Danny Simpson, and the postal votes went from 20-something thousand to 50,000. Yeah, and just because of the pandemic and people weren't going out. And I said then to Danny, I said, you know, like, these go to the post office, there must be somebody there, like, securing them up, or some, like, security guard. But it's something I've got to find out. And you know, I'm going to be pushing for that, me. I'm going to say I want security at the post office if we're increasing in postal votes. Oldham's got a record of postal vote fraud anyway. And people have been going for it, and it's an issue.
Oh, the people, and here's the thing: it's like somebody who gets convicted, who say like works in a children's nursery for being a paedophile, and then gets given a job back. Now that is transpired into Labour vote. People that go around counting the votes and stuff like that have been convicted for fraud and allowed to do it again. What's that all about?
Yeah. Not just that. The sex offenders in Oldham. A guy got done for nonsense kids at the mosque, and next thing is being as like the second Labour candidate in an election, a local election. Honestly,
and allowed to still go back home and live with all his several kids.
Yeah.
What? Now, if we like say like you and I kind of like got Christian kind of beliefs, or we're English guys. If we did that to our kids we had the choice of either not going back home and finding another accommodation, or if we went back home, our children would be taken off us.
Yeah.
But only not for this special one. So. But so anyway, going back to voting by postal. I mean, look what happened in America. You know, people that were dead 150 years ago were voting. Yeah. I do not believe that. I do like the postal voting for people like, say, like your mother, you know, who's genuinely disabled or cannot, you know, manage to get down there. But, you know, when they go round and get these votes, they're knocking on the doors, and there's about 40 of them living in the same house.
Yeah.
There's something very, very seriously wrong. You either turn up in person with identification, and also when you do the tick on the box in the ballot box, a fucking pen, not a pencil.
Yeah.
We've seen on YouTube how they rub it off.
Yeah.
You know, it's been proven. So there's some very bad corruption going on.
But,
and these are the things you've got to change.
We can call that out. When I run in an election as a candidate, I can have up to 10 vote agents. Yeah. And that means we can all go to the count. Me and 10 vote agents can go to the count. And then vote agents can check seals on boxes, which is what I did at Barnsley. You know, they can go around to the polls. I want to do all this and keep on top of it so that I can find out if something's wrong and say, look, I bring my motion to council. Right, the last election, there were no security man at the post office, yet we've doubled the amount of postal votes. Can we have a security man there, like ASAP, next elections, or a security firm? I'll say that. I won't be intimidated into not saying nothing. That's what I'm going to say. And, and so it's up to us to push, to change, to point out, and when everyone sees then that the council under Labour is fiddling the votes, we'll just stop voting for them.
It's got to be people like you, your boots on the ground. You get out there and you deal with it, you sort it out. It's all about who's who and what do you know and where to go to school. It's not about people that have lived life.
Well, another thing that I see a lot of divide, yeah, but like what I seen in Batley was people saying, oh, well, why is somebody from outside of Batley running here? And just thinking small, but I want people to think a bit bigger. You know what I mean? I want people to think that it's not just the town or the ward. It's in Oldham, we've got 30 odd wards or whatever it is, yeah, and together as a whole we're better off. So why be individual? Why just think about yourself and be selfish? We should think about the whole. It's not we're one part of the whole, and when you do stuff when you were younger and you learn that a whole is better than a part. You know what I mean? You get more things off whole. So we should all come together a bit more. And I was a bit disappointed with some of the people. Well, they're not from round here, but they'd not done the research because the Freedom Party Alliance candidate lived there, and they were saying that everybody except for the Labour candidate is the only one who lives round here, or the Labour and Conservative. But it wasn't. The Freedom Party Alliance candidate lived and grown up in Batley. You know what I mean? So but I've seen a lot of that, and I'd hope that we'd come together. I'm able, I'll talk to people. If I do get a council seat, I'll talk to people and I'll discuss things. I'll listen to them. I won't judge them. I'll listen to them. If they bring something valid to me, then I'll think about it more. But if they just bring a load of politically correct nonsense or try and get something past my eyes about me noticing it, then I'm going to call them out. So it's up to us. Right. I want to go now. I'm tired. I've had enough. I've been on 3 hours now. So 3 hours. But thank you. God bless. Thank you for calling on. I've had a whirlwind of a time tonight. Jayda Fransen, Steve Laws.
It's been like cabaret. It's been one after entertainer after another one. All the good ones, all in one place. You've done a good job tonight. I appreciate it. Good.
Well, so do I. Thank you to the chat. I know it's been mega busy. I'm going to have to go through it after. Loads of...
you don't want to do that. It's been manic. It's been a little bit... The only thing I've been a bit upset tonight, there's been a bit of... I wouldn't say shitstorm, but people coming in and just trying to cause a bit of divide and a little bit of infighting. And right now, what's his name? Phantom Tom Prophet. Listen... there's something going on between him and the Lodge. I know the Lodge for a long time, and he's a good guy. The trouble is, Phantom, you could be a mod on a channel, and I've been cloned myself. I know this happens. It happens. And these people, these little fucking lefty cunts, sorry about the language, they clone our names. Well, you know all about it, don't you, John? Remember? Do you remember that guy that you had? He's one of your mods originally. Yeah. And he cloned me. And it happens. And then you go onto a channel, and you can't comment. You think, what's going on here then? What's happened is previously someone's cloned that moderator's name and then come in and just cause trouble amongst other moderators and other people. It just caused bullshit. So listen, Prophet, just take my word. I've known the Lodge for a very long time. He's one of us. He's a good geezer. He wouldn't have deleted you if he's a moderator on another channel for no reason. Just please sort your differences out. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a good guy. And that's what I have to say on that. But John, how's your mum?
She's good. Thank you.
You're settled into your new place now.
Yeah. We're settled in and all that.
And what's the area like? Is it all like relaxed? Is it okay? No crime? And is it all? Do you feel safe there?
No, not really. I live in St
Oh,
Mary's.
no.
I live in St Mary's ward, which is part of the biggest crime area in Oldham and one of the worst in Greater Manchester. But I spent 40 years of my life here in this area. I know people.
You're known. People know you.
Yeah, and I'm not thinking. I still walk down the street the same. I'll still walk around the dark corner, me and all that. I won't say to anyone do it, but I'm all right, But
You're about 7 foot tall, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're about nearly 7 foot tall, anyway.
And so it's been good. Phantom Profit. I don't think you're getting blocked because nobody.
Not here. I think he's on about another channel.
Oh. Right.
So Lodge isn't a mod on here. He's a mod on quite a few other channels. I've known him for quite a long time, and he's not untoward. He's a very fair bloke. He's a good geezer. I mean, this Phantom saying I don't take no one's word. As you know, John, I moderate quite a lot of those channels, and I see him all the time. And no, Phantom. Look, you say it seems like the same Lodge to me. I've been cloned as well, and without knowing about it. But luckily, you've got other people in the chat logs that see this and then they'll pass the messages on. But just you don't have to take my word for it, but do give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a nice guy. And that's all I have to say on that. Anyway, John.
Right. I'll give you a thumbs up, Tom. See you on Facebook, and you're my friend already.
Oh, by the way, it's God Bless the UK. That's who's that's who it is. That's who's talking to you, Phantom Tom. It's God Bless the UK. And you'll see me on quite a few other channels. So I'm a fair bloke. It takes a lot for me to either put someone in, either time them out, and if they carry on being a prick or whatever, anything to threaten the channel with any YouTube strikes, then they get removed after I publicly say to them, "Oi, wind it in." But anyway, so listen. Oh my God, John, we've got to start doing it a little bit earlier.
I know.
A little bit earlier.
Yeah,
so when's your next live? When's your next live?
I have to go on till 10, after 10, because it's election night.
Oh, right. So when's your next live?
Next week, 8 o'clock Wednesday, with Jordan Gaskill, UKIP guy for Hindley.
Yeah. Well, was you in Scotland?
I don't know. Has it Jordan been?
But you put a picture and you went higher than you.
No. We've just got our Scotland tops on. That's all. I wasn't in Scotland, but we just got our Scotland tops on. Just thought we'd get a bit of British patriotic in, like we're all together. You know what I mean?
Did you see the news today? What that stupid little fucking cranky little bitch has done now? That toilet doors. Did you read about that?
Yeah, it's mad, that, isn't it?
She is fucking. How she hasn't been sectioned yet, I do not know. But listen, I know a lot of Scottish people, and that she does not speak for them.
That Mason Greenwood case is interesting.
Oh God, yes, yeah. There's a lot of footballers at the moment being done for raping, isn't there? Quite a lot.
Ex-Rochdale goalkeeper who was just going to get signed up for Mossley, and that's Ashton Oldham. I used to live in Mossley, and
you lived in Mossley. That's rough, there, isn't it? That's really rough.
It occurs. And he's been done for something like 13 charges, and apparently he abused the youngest kid he abused was 7.
What?
Hang on, let me just get him up.
I know that Lord Ahmed.
Yeah.
He's been made a lord as well, and he's still got it.
He's not a lord. He's not. It's been took off in that. Don't worry.
Well, that was on the news today, and 5th of January. I tell a lie. Is it gone now? Is it? He's had it taken off him?
Yeah, but we're a while back. But I mean, he's got. Besides that, he got done for harassing a woman and stuff like that. Former Rochdale goalkeeper has been jailed for 28 years after raping and sexually assaulting 7 females between 2011 and 2017.
Is that the one that got bailed?
No. This is another one.
What was this one?
Jonathan Diba Musangu 23, who played for Rochdale during the 2010s, was jailed on Friday. So this was September last year.
Can you do a copy and paste in the, and link it in the chat?
Yeah,
please?
well, yeah.
Well, that's what I didn't see today. And I thought because when I get up in the morning, I come out here to my little man cave, have 3 or 4 cups of coffee, 4 million roll-ups, and I go through all the papers. To see, and then I share it on Facebook, because there's so many sheep out there that listen to the BBC and ITV. They don't know really what's going on with the country. So I like to wake people up.
Well,
thank you very much.
The Mason Greenwood case is weird because she's come out, she's done all that, she's on Twitter, and then she says they're trying to silence me. And next thing, he's been released under investigation, but she says they're trying to silence me. That lad is worth billions, to the right people. Now, are they trying to silence her? Are they going to blame it on her? Are they going to make him look? Really, he shouldn't be getting out of jail if of what I've seen. Obviously, he's got to have a trial, but she's them physical marks and that, and she's come out and said all that, and
the white girl that got beaten up.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Got recordings of him threatening her. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's just madness, man. Honestly, it's madness. And he's been released under investigation. And so that other copper from Rochdale the year before, that other footballer, I've put it in the chat, 28 years, youngest victim 7, and he did it while at Sunday school, while we were teaching at Sunday school. Honestly, who are these people? What, is there any, has he got any history? Has he been properly vetted or anything like that? Or is it because when they get power, they think they can control and stuff like that? And I'm not a big fan of the Football Association or any football group or the football clubs. Why? Because they're consistent with covering up abuse on kids when they were being taught. You've all seen them white footballers who've come out who were abused by Barry Bennell. And 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, Channel 4 did Channel 4 dispatches calling out all this abuse, and it got hushed up and blown under the carpet. It didn't come out till over 10 years later. And these are the people in power. So all the people who run the FA, football, they're all corrupt. Every single one of them might as well be a paedophile if they've let this Barry Bennell abuse all these people. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's just...
There seems to be some deep underlying dark circle, because it's not just in football. It's things like the children's homes, the scouts, all that kind of stuff. Now we're seeing an increase in the UK of teachers, even women, having underage sex with our kids. Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's just what is going on? It's like the the Antichrist has been born and it has its followers. These are things that are fundamentally evil to our nature.
And I don't know if you heard me at the beginning, but Amjad Ditter and his crew are up at Bradford Crown Court right now. EW was saying earlier, and Amjad Ditter is called, and right, I'll give you a spanner, but don't kick anyone off.
Don't be having a fight with the lodge on it, all right? Because I know you and Lodge have got a little bit of a. That's why I didn't say nothing, because I'm hoping, Phantom, that you haven't got an issue with the lodge anymore. And do you understand what I'm saying? Because you seem to be doubting him, and like you said, you don't take anyone's word. And I'm God bless the UK, by the way, again. And I've known the lodge for a very long time, and he's okay. He's a nice guy. He's all right. So there we go. You got your spanner. Use it wisely. But yeah, God, I lost the thread now. So what happened today? There was a court case, was there?
Yeah, Amjad Ditter, the diversity copper, and there was a gang of them, 19 in total, and they're up at Bradford Crown Court on trial.
Oh, that was ages ago. What is it?
we went to the magistrate's appearance. Me, Rita, McDave.
I was there.
Alan
I was there in person on the YouTube. I was moderating. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and then so they're up in Bradford Crown Court right now. So that's
wasn't Active there as well. Active was there as well, wasn't he?
Not this particular one, no.
But
No,
so many, you lose count.
It was 6th of January 2020 that we went, and with me, Rita, McDave, Arlene, a couple of cars of us, and we all went up, met a couple of other people, and then we were there. And Amjad Ditter, the diversity couple, was going in. And the interesting thing was, when we got there, the media were there because he's going up. And we stood at the top of these steps, and a media guy come up and said, "Is there any chance you can move out of the way so we can get good shots of our camera?" That's what he said to me. You know, and I started streaming, and I just swore at him, honestly. "You are, I'm not moving. Everyone get round here." And also, what I can tell you also is that the streams, I've got the streams up. That one of the worst gangs groups I've seen going up. God bless. One of the worst ones. Threats to kill, sexual, also every single drug, whatever you could think of a charge was in all these charges. Yeah, honestly, and it's one of the worst I've seen on document on paper. It's one of the worst I've seen.
Really, you're joking?
Yeah, I am not. And I've been
so we had things like where one of them back in the day got an iron thing out the fire and branded the girl on the back of her bum with an M that she belongs to Muhammad.
Yeah,
burnt it into her ass. What, worse than that?
Cigarette burns, and I think they got them kind of things. We know this because we talked to a victim's parent, a victim's step parent outside who were there, and I'm still in contact with him now.
So what's the outcome at the moment? Where's this case standing at the moment? Is it still in trial?
Still in trial. Still in trial.
And they're all being bailed?
They all got bail at the time, yeah.
That's what sickens me. And most of them have dual heritage, so they can fuck off. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, you trust me, don't you? Right? Can I just ask you one thing? Right? You see in the chat log, there's a guy called The Lodge. Can you mod him, please?
The Lodge one, right, all right.
Yeah, he's a mate of mine. I've known him a long time.
All right, yeah. The Lodge is good, yeah, I will do. Right.
Thank you. Because there's a little bit of hustle bustle in the chat log and that, and I don't want one of them to take. Not that I would say it will happen, but they're good, both guys, and just keep it equal. And you can never have enough mods sometimes.
You can't, honestly. I know I'm gonna next few weeks. I know I'm gonna get attacked on my channel by
it's this fucking Russian bots. Have you seen them? You've had it. I've put a few in timeout and removed them on here tonight. So you get these Russian bots, these Russian name, and they put a link to a porn channel, trying to get you strikes on YouTube. And it's not just you; it's fucking everyone. Even a mate of mine in USA. Excuse me. He's only got a few people in chat. It's not COVID. Right. It's a pube stuck in the back of my throat. I'm only joking. And even the most smallest little channels that are harmless, that don't do anything to anybody, get attacked by these fucking Russian bots to try and get you a strike on YouTube. Yeah. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then there's the other one now. Have you seen this thing called porn bombing?
Porn bombing?
Yeah, have you heard of it?
No.
Oh, I hadn't heard of it until a couple of weeks ago. And so, say like we got a live channel like this and someone wants to jump in, you put a StreamYard up, you say, come on in, you know. Before you let them in, make sure they put their camera on and you see their face if it's someone you don't know. Because the things I've seen, I'm scared to close my eyes.
Not bad, bro. You know.
Honestly, I can't tell you here. I'll probably give you a bell on the phone or something. But some of the stuff I've seen, and the thing is, it's so disgusting and sick. I don't mean kids or animals, but people doing things to themselves. It takes you like 4 or 5 seconds, you're looking at it and think, what the fuck's that then? And it's so bizarre. Then you realise what it is, and you think, you dirty cunt. And you laugh at it in a way. You laugh at it in a way, but what they're trying to do is trying to get you a strike on YouTube. So then you have to stop the channel, delete it, and restart the channel again. So I've just given you a heads up. Just a heads up for some of the things I've seen.
I'm all right. Well, anyway, listen, I've had enough now. I'm going. Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much. And Tina, you're always on the streams and you're always popping on. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the Lodge, say good night. Say good night. I want to see you modded. Lodge, say good night. Come on, Lodge. Don't be shy. He's gonna come. Anyway, look, everyone be nice on here because listen, we are all like birds of a feather. We come to this channel because we got the same kind of patriot views about what we want with our country and to protect each other. So no infighting, just all get together. Look at that. Buonanotte or Nostar, if you're Welsh. Anyway,
Buonanotte. Right, listen, I'm going. I'm definitely going now. Thank you.
And me.
Don't forget, 8 o'clock Wednesday, I've got Jordan Gaskill on, and I might be doing another stream as well next week. Going to be doing some stuff on the PTSD camp. And
Which one?
Pardon?
Which one?
Well, I'm going to start on Joe's, and then I'm going to go to the second one. But
Leicester, isn't it?
I need to see. I've got a friend of mine, so I need to see him first because he can help the camp in certain ways if I can get to see him and sort something out with him. But yeah, and I've got some stuff already to pick up that needs to go to the camp in Bath. So, but I'm going to be doing a couple of weeks on the camps and try and get people donating. If you're in Greater Manchester and you've got something for the camp, I might be able to pick it up, depending how big it is or anything like that. Or
your car?
I haven't personally got a car.
But you go by train, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. But if it's in Greater Manchester, I've got 2 nephews with vans.
Fair play.
I've got 2 nephews.
Sadly, I haven't got any fruit machine, pinball machines I want to donate. I'm sorry to say.
Thank you, Bonnie lad. I'll catch up with you soon, pal. Yeah, so I've got 2 nephews with vans, so I can pick things up around Greater Manchester. Getting them to the camp, I probably could get them to the camp the same way as well, but I want to just get some stuff together, see if we can get some donations going down to the camp and stuff like that. So a couple of weeks that'll be. So, but yeah, thank you very much. God bless. Thank you very much, mate. Hope the family's all right. You take care of them babies, and I mean the pinball machines. You take care of them.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good night. Love to your mum. Look after yourself. God bless you.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Lodge, Phantom Prophet. Thank you, everyone in the chat who's been on tonight. Thank you to Jayda, Paul Rimmer, Steve Laws. I'll catch up with Graham soon. But thank you, everyone, and thank you very much, everyone.
Good night, guys. Thank you very much. Cracking show. Night. Bye-bye.